as the O's stop their 5-game losing streak with a big win at Houston. Tonight, the O's head to Cleveland, and reinforcements are on the way. Matt Wieters will be behind the plate for the first time this year. He's about to make his 2015 debut. It's up next on MASN. It's the Orioles on MASN on a beautiful Friday night for baseball in Cleveland, Ohio. It's the Orioles and Indians tonight, the opening game in this 3-game weekend series. And hi, everyone. I'm Jim Hunter. This is a big night for the Orioles organization overall, and for Matt Wieters in particular, as Matt will make his season debut 12 days shy of the 1-year anniversary of his Tommy John surgery last June. Wieters, of course, has been rehabbing ever since, and tonight he rejoins the team, and it has been some time since Matt has been in a big league uniform. He last played for the Orioles May 10th of last year against the Astros, went on the DL right after that, and has been out ever since. Played in only 26 games last year, and the shame of it was he was off to a hot start with 5 home runs and 18 RBIs in the first 26 games. His career numbers, this is why Matt Wieters was missed: 92 home runs, 346 RBIs, and a couple of Gold Gloves. And Jim, when you look at Matt Wieters returning on June the 5th, it's as if the team went out and made a trade for an all-star catcher.
Well, and that's what they're getting. You know, Buck Showalter kind of downplaying it to some degree, saying, see, you know, it's not like I expect him to be Johnny Bench, but we all know what Matt can do. He was ready to play early on, and then again, I think he played that March 17th game, did it on MASN, but he can help you offensively. His release is usually about 1.8. So arm strength really doesn't have to be what it used to be coming off the Tommy John surgery, but he's hit a lot. I expect offensively, and this is where the club's really been struggling, he's really going to help them. And then let's go to the other factor. Chris Tillman's 0-6 in his last 7 starts. Probably pitched better than that record, but you got to feel much more comfortable when Matt's behind the plate.
Yeah, so you get an all-star back, and the Orioles look to make it back-to-back wins to the comeback win at Houston yesterday. We're coming back to Cleveland. Up next, we'll hear from Zach Britton. Orioles baseball on MASN is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Ocean City, Maryland. Put your vacation days to good use in Ocean City, Maryland. Book now at ococean.com. Lovely night for the opener. 3-game weekend series, and the O's are hoping to get Zach Britton in the game. Picked up a save yesterday. He's had 8 consecutive scoreless appearances, picking up 7 saves along the way. And for the season now, he has 14 saves on the year. Now, Zach, of course, in his second season as the Orioles closer, and I asked him what he learned from last year, his first time around as a closer, that he's carried into 2015.
I think the biggest thing is you don't always have a consistent throwing. You're not always there every other day, every 2 days. And I think that learning that last year, knowing what to do when I'm not throwing a lot. Whether I got to go to the bullpen a little bit more or do some extra throwing, things like that, to stay sharp. And I think that was the most important thing that I took out of last year, and I think it's helped me a little bit this year, and I'm still adjusting. It's only my second year doing it, so you're still learning.
You have a calm demeanor when you're on the mound, which I'm guessing is a plus as a closer because of the craziness around you. Where did that demeanor come from? Is that something you got from mom, from dad? Where did that come from?
Maybe a little bit of both. I think it's definitely not always been like that, so it's an acquired trait, I guess. Something that Dave and Dom have obviously helped me out with, too. I think just focusing on one pitch, not trying to get too wrapped up in the situation or what's going on, or trying to get the 3 outs in the 9th. I think I've really just narrowed my focus in on making good pitches, and I think that's helped with the demeanor on the mound.
When you have your sinker, you literally can be a one-pitch pitcher. When you have 96, 97 in sync, you really don't need anything else. But this year, you've been using your breaking ball a bit more. Is that by design?
Yeah, I think if I can throw an extra wrinkle in there, sometimes that helps keep guys off balance. They're sitting fastball so much. I see that now. Guys are swinging a lot earlier on in counts than last year. So sometimes if I can flip a breaking ball in there for a strike, it kind of just gets their thought process going a little bit more, thinking if he's going to do it again, or I'm going to get fastballs. So just anything to keep these hitters off balance. They're good hitters, and no matter how good your pitch is, if they know that one pitch is coming all the time, they can fight it off a little bit more. Or if you do make a little bit of a mistake, they're going to be right on it. So just something to help me out too. Get a little extra wrinkle in there and keep the advantage on my side.
Was that your choice to do that, or was that suggested?
No, I think it's more me. Dave and Dom, they've been like, hey, if it's working, why mess with it? But I felt like I've always had a pretty good breaking ball, and last year I didn't really use it a whole lot. And it's not something that I'm going to overly rely on. But if I can command it, it's another weapon for me to use, especially in situations maybe with guys on base to kind of slow the game down a little bit.
You've been on a tremendous roll, and unfortunately, the team hasn't been able to get to you. Only 2 opportunities in the last 8 days. Is it difficult to stay sharp mentally when you're not getting a chance, maybe day in, day out?
It's part of the job description, I think. Whether it's hard or not, I got to get used to it. And, unfortunately, we're not winning as a team, and I think that's the most important thing. Whether or not I'm pitching is kind of irrelevant. But, like I said, it comes back to throwing bullpens and trying to stay sharp, doing stuff with Dave and Dom, and that's an important thing. I think, if anything, I'm learning a lot through this period when we're not winning a lot of games on what I got to do in situations like this. So I just take it as a learning experience, and, hopefully we get on a nice roll, and, I'll be pitching more. But, right now I think, if anything, I just want us to win games, whether or not I'm pitching. It doesn't really bother me too much. I know that I need to stay focused, on, if I got to pitch tonight or not, and I tend to do that. I like to, make sure I'm locked in the game right away, from the first pitch on.
Well, he got locked in yesterday because the Orioles had lost 5 in a row, and he came in and got 5 outs. I said, you might as well just continue. He said, well, I kind of like that. And the other thing he said was, I kind of like sitting on the bench because just think about it. Closer comes out of the bullpen. Job is to get 3 outs, and then you go in the locker room, celebrate, hopefully you're saved. And another conversation very quickly, we have a little bit of time, is that couple of games, Longoria said, is Britton still going to be your closer? I said, yeah, but he could be a starter. He goes, he's too good at what he does. So the Orioles are very lucky to have him, and you made a very good point. They need to get more games where he can pitch.
Don't weaken a strength to strengthen a weakness. That's my motto. Here's our BGE home game time temperature. It is pleasant, 74 degrees. That humidity pretty high, 59%, just a slight breeze. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? There is Shaun Marcum, and here's the Orioles starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Manny Machado will lead off. Travis Snyder in the number 2 spot. Big numbers in his career against the Indians. Adam Jones, Chris Davis, and the new guy, Matt Wieters, will catch him bat 5th. Jimmy Paredes back in the lineup. He'll DH. Then Ryan Flaherty, J.J. Hardy, and David Lowe.
And Shaun Marcum, 33-year-old right-hander, so he loves his sinker. Got a little bit of a slider, change-up, change in speeds. Of course, he hasn't pitched since 2010 against the Orioles. He's had Tommy John back in, 2000, the end of 2008, missed almost all of 2009. Then the thoracic outlet syndrome, so he was 1-10 with the Mets. But back in the big leagues, he's 2-0. You can see the numbers not really what he would like to have him be, but at the end of the day, he gives them a chance, and then they're playing well. They really struggle, talking about the Indians in April, a totally different team in May and now into June.
There's Terry Francona, the skipper of the Indians. He also has managed with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Red Sox, of course, and won a world championship in Boston. So here is Manny Machado leading off.
Actually won 2 of them, 2004 and 2007.
He's good. He liked it so much he got another ring.
But it's Boston.
and he's in Cleveland.
Yes, exactly. And very happy. He did a nice job here. 85 wins last year, 92 the year before. Slow start, as we mentioned. And again, trying to pick up the pace, as the Orioles are.
Trying to make it back-to-back wins. Here's the 0-1 to Manny. A breaking ball just misses outside. So we see the pattern that the Astros had continuing here. Back-to-back pitches off speed to Machado to begin the game. Manny in a 3-for-16 drought with just 1 RBI in that span. And he takes outside ball 2.
Yeah, and I think the normal thing, he hits 2 home runs on Sunday. The Orioles hit 4, but They get beat 9-5, and then they go on the road to Houston. But Houston can pitch a little bit, so they command the ball, especially their starters. Open stance. Can he cover that outside corner? He's a much better high ball hitter. So what they try to do, go way in, or throw him a real slow breaking ball.
And Aviles will get him at first. So Chowder retired and one away in the Oriole first.
Take a look at the Indians' defense this year. Well, Murphy, Bourne, and Moss. Brantley had back problems, so he's DH now for the 6th time. Chisenhall, Aviles, Kipnis. Boy, has he been red hot with the bat. Santana, who can catch and play first. And then Yan Gomes, who had the sprained knee early on. He is back in the lineup.
And here is Travis Snider. The Orioles have every available left-handed batter in the lineup tonight except for Ray Navarro, who is a switch hitter and just called back from AAA today against Shaun Marcum. And there's a pitch taken for a ball, 1-0. And the reason for that for Buck Showalter is you look at the splits, and the lefties are batting .333 against Marcum. The righties just 132, so 200-point difference. So Buck stacks that lineup with the left-handed batters. And Snider will foul it back, 1-1 the count. Travis 1 for 7 on the trip, and he is just 1 for his last 12.
Yeah, I think the disappointing thing is not only forgetting how many outs there were the other night with 1 out, he ran himself into a double play when you're struggling for runs. So it's just the fact he really hasn't driven the ball. Seemed like that was going to be the case. Had a good spring early on. So to me, it'll be very interesting to look. 3 of the 4 umpires will be behind the plate. It was a huge strike zone. It was a pitcher's strike zone down in Houston. And we'll see if that's the case here with Greg Gibson doing the home plate umpiring.
Line drive, base hit left field. So Snider goes with it in a solid line drive. The Orioles have a 1-out base runner in the first. Let's get a look at our American Standard. Who's hot and who's not?
Well, Jones, Adam, he got 3 hits yesterday, 2 on Wednesday. And then Yan Gomes, he missed, about 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks with a knee. So he's back. Well, you talked to a lot of people that saw the Indians play in April, and they said the fact that they have so many left-handed hitters, he being right-handed really hurt them. Not only, he's coming off a terrific year, plus he's a guy behind the plate.
Celebrate the season with the American Standard All-Star event. Visit MidAtlanticComfort.com for amazing rebate and financing opportunities. And then a throw to first to Chase Snider,
who does not run.
And they don't run on Marcum. Just 1 attempt all year, and the Indians caught that base stealer. Adam, as Jim just mentioned, back-to-back multi-hit games trying to get that stroke back. And despite the fact that he has cooled off from his red-hot April, and this one is lifted towards center field, not that deep. Here's Michael Bourne, and he's got it for the 2 down. Adam is still in the top 10 in batting with his .307. That'll go down a point now, but it's pretty amazing with his cool May that he's still in the top 10.
Yeah, hit .239 in May with a home run and 400 in April. Now, I don't know if you're ever going to match that for an entire season unless you're Ted Williams. And that doesn't happen very often, but they pitched differently. The Orioles saw better pitching. His approach was different last couple of days, getting back to using the whole field, as Chris Davis would like to do.
And they overshift on him, as most teams do.
I mean, they don't put anybody really on the left side. Of Houston, actually, their third baseman played in enough where he couldn't bunt. But I think with 2 outs in the first inning, you have a guy that's not a particularly power pitcher. Now the wind does, at least down on the cage today, seem like it might be blowing in a little bit, but now it looks like it's blowing across from right to left. I think he's in the hit mode.
Chris is 2 for 15 on the trip, and another calling card throw to first as Snider dives back in. Shaun Marcum, now 33 years old, from Excelsior Springs in Missouri. He was a 3rd-round pick of the Blue Jays back in 2003, pitched in college in his home state at the University of Missouri. And a strike taken by Davis.
Well, he came up and he kind of rushed to the big leagues and actually pitched pretty well. Won 12 games in 2007. And then towards the end of the next season, he was 9-7. That's where he had the Tommy John surgery, and then went to Toronto. He came back healthy, won 13 games, got traded to Milwaukee, won 14 games, actually make it 13 games again, and then had the shoulder problem.
Line to center field. Will it fall? Yes, it will. Right in front of Michael Bourne. So the two lefties in the Orioles lineup with hits. Marcum gets the two righties out, so 2 on with 2 down in the first.
So Matt Wieters will come on, and of course his best side is the other side, at least historically, 280 versus 248. But what we saw last year before the injury, and that's a long time ago, 181 games ago, is that he was red hot both sides of the plate. But the numbers, and of course he was going to play anyway, whether you're lefty or righty, is that right-handed or left-handed hitters off of Marcum came in 11 for 33. So you can throw a couple more. So now they're 13 for 35.
His last at-bats were May the 10th last year. That was at home against the Astros. He played in the first 2 games in that series, went 0 for 9. And then on May the 11th, he was placed on the DL. And here he is back, as Jim mentioned, 181 games later. And he looks over ball 1. Now the timing is going to be the key. As Buck mentioned before the game when he chatted with reporters, it's a big step even for an all-star to come back from minor league rehab games to the big leagues.
Well, I don't think it'll be as big a step against Marcum as it will be in the next 2 guys. Salazar and Carrasco have power arms. So yeah, I mean, maybe the hand's a little bit lower, but he pops it up.
Shallow left, the shortstop is calling. That's Mike Aviles, and he's got it for the out. So Wieters retired in his first at-bat of the season. Strand 2 will enter the bottom of the first. No score. Cleveland, Ohio, as the Orioles take on the Indians. Get a look at the Indians lineup for tonight. Kipnis and Brantley with Brandon Moss in the cleanup spot. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs against the Orioles. Of course, came over in the offseason trade with Oakland. Murphy, Chisenhall, Gomes with Bourne and Aviles.
Chris Tillman, maybe not as many fastballs as last year, 56%, usually around 60, but the breaking ball is both the curveball and the slider, or kind of a cutter. So you can see the numbers. I mean, last year was 13-6. You know, he went to 21 games, 3 runs or less. Really got on a roll towards the end of the year. This year, the numbers look horrible, but you could take one team in 3 games where he gave up 19 runs and about a little less than 15 innings against the Blue Jays. So he knows he can get better. And he made a really good point today. He said, you know, the year he came back to the big leagues in 2012. He talked about his start at AAA. Now he's 2-7 tonight. He said, I went 0-8 and I ended up 8-8. So he's in a positive frame. He gets Wieters. And he's got one of the toughest outs in baseball right here with Kipnis leading off.
Sharply at the second, Ryan Flaherty, a nice in-between hop to him. And on 2 pitches, 1 down here in the first inning. Here's a look at our Maryland Live Casino inside the numbers, and here's Chris year to year, as Jim describes. Last year, just a terrific year. Should have won more than the 13 games. Yeah,
well, run support usually dictates that, but he was 8-1 on the road, where he did. ERA was over 4.5 runs a game, but look at the run support. 2 runs or less in 7 out of his 10 starts. And again, the other thing I look at is the base on balls. I think that doesn't mean you're wild. I think what happens, Jim, is that you become a little bit tentative and get hitting around a little bit more than you want. And then instead of challenging hitters, you get behind them, and that's hurt.
Strike 1 to Carlos Santana, who is an extremely patient hitter. Switch hitter up there batting left. The only 2 hitters who will bat from the right side for Cleveland, Yan Gomes, who's batting 7th, and Mike Aviles, who's in the number 9 spot.
Who actually has a higher average against right-handed pitchers than he does lefties.
Yeah. Good off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss.
When I had George Bamberger as my pitching coach, he used to always talk about you'd like to establish your curveball early. If you can't, you got hopefully 9 innings to do it. But when he went to Milwaukee, I ended up pitching a real good game, and he said, I knew we were in trouble when I established it in the first inning. Well, Kipnis hit 1 to second base. And he only throws, talking about Chris Tillman, about 45% of those curveballs for strikes. So already he's thrown 2, and they're both for strikes. So maybe he have one of these games where he'll have 3-4 pitches working for him tonight.
He has not won a game since April 18th in Boston. Beat the Red Sox at Fenway. And a little bit low. Santana is leading the American League in walks, 40. You can honestly say he goes up there looking for a free pass.
Well, he does, except that if you throw him a pitch he can handle, I mean, he hit 27 home runs last year, he'll air it out.
And the 3-2, and there's a walk.
Yeah,
so a one-out walk.
But and how did he do it? He went from 1 and 2 to walking, and we know that Santana can walk. So let's take a look at the defense. And most managers, pitching coaches say there is no defense for a walk. Lowe, Jones, Snyder, that's the outfield for the Orioles. Machado, Hardy, Flaherty, and Chris Davis over at first. Matt Wieters back. First game he has played here in 2015.
He was very excited before the game when I chatted with him. And just extremely happy to be back. The rehab process is a long process. It's as if you're on an island. And there is strike one to Michael Brantley. So 3 batters in a row he has gone strike one. Brantley is DHing tonight. He's at 303 and he's got a 4-game hitting streak working.
Well, you throw him breaking balls, you speed up the bat. Otherwise, he's very happy to really hit from right center over. And he can do it with the best of them.
Just inside 1-1.
I mean, he's coming off a year, and his best year. 327, 20 home runs, a couple of RBIs less than 100. Doesn't strike out much. I mean, if you get up 611 times and you only strike out, what, 56 times? You're a contact hitter with power.
Ground ball right to Manny. He'll get to second for one. Flaherty, good turn and a scoop on the back end by Davis. What a double play by the Orioles. And that gets Tillman out of first. Flaherty was deep in the hole. He had a long way to come, but the pivot at second base gets it to first, and the twin bill kills the first. Has won $500 for being selected and will win $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. Play Baseball Bucks scratch-offs and win up to $50,000 or enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Just visit mdlottery.com/baseball. It was a lovely day in Cleveland, actually warm. Cooled off a bit. Matt Wieters happy to be back.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of fluctuating weather. Tomorrow the high is supposed to be around 64. Today was about 72.3, and then 81 by Sunday. The lake effect here.
Yep.
Even though it appears, at least for the moment, the wind is blowing from a different direction.
Here's Jimmy Paredes leading off. He did not play in the game yesterday, and despite his slump, he is still 10th in the league in batting at 305, and he pulls it foul down the line.
Well, I ran into him today, and I said, listen, you're swinging at everything, and the league knows that. It's not that you don't be aggressive, but if you'll swing at balls, that's usually what they throw you. So he's a young guy, and when you get hot, he was about as hot as anybody.
Oh, sure.
You think you can hit everything, and then what happens is, Rick Banning was in here, who works for the Indians, he used to pitch against them, and you swing at everything. And I don't mean those pitches, that's just a really good changeup. That's what Shaun Marcum could do. He can sell it with the best of them. We could sell you a Datsun. That's how good a salesman he is with that changeup.
Do they still make those?
No, that's my point.
You know, my dad used to have one of those back when I was in grammar school.
Precursor to Nissan.
And he gets Paredes. So they threw back-to-back outstanding changeup, and Paredes swings through it. So Jimmy is now just 2 for his last 29.
Yeah, well, he got one pitch to hit, ripped it foul, and then Marcum went to work. This is what veteran pitchers do with young hitters that are overly aggressive sometimes. They add, they subtract in and out, pull the string, call anything you want, get you out on your front foot, and you get to go back to the bench.
Ryan Flaherty now, and he'll take it high.
Yeah, you want that ball about 4 inches lower, and the Orioles might be leading 1-0. A floating slider.
Ryan is 3 for 12 on the trip, but he does have 3 RBIs. And he'll take a strike.
Yeah, the one number you look at, all those great numbers, lefties were hitting 11 for 33, now 13 for 36. So that number's even gone up, but only 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
This ball's hooked down the right field line. There's a long run for Moss, and he makes the catch. Hung up for him just long enough. So back-to-back outs to begin the second for the O's. You can celebrate summer at Oriole Park by picking up the new Birdland Summer 6-pack. Choose any 6 remaining games for the remainder of the season and enjoy savings of up to 20% off the cost of the single-game tickets. Now, you can build the perfect plan for you. Great rivalry games, maybe popular promotions, fireworks nights, whatever you like. For all the details, visit Orioles.com/6pack or 888-848-BIRD. Here's Jay Hardy, who has moved down to the number 9 spot tonight. It splits up Flaherty and Lowe, a couple of left-handed batters, batting 7 and 9. JJ did not start any of the games in Houston. He got in yesterday, 9th inning defensive replacement at shortstop, and he weighed in an off-speed pitch, and he's down 0-2.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, totally different numbers, righties and lefties. And right-handers came in at 132, which is well into the 300s. Got that slider that pretty much just fades away, down and away, and you can see that's his fastball. 86. And now it doesn't mean you can't pitch with it, because you can. That can be your top. Then you can take the slider maybe at 80, 81. Change up. We already see 82 or 3. Turn it over a little bit.
And he gets JJ. So 3 up, 3 down inning, 2 by strikeout. Second, no score. Tillman back to work. Tonight's game brought to you by Miller. Here's Tillman. 3-batter first inning, a 1-out walk, but a double play. Just 11 pitches to get through that first inning. Chris 0-6 with a no decision in his last. He has pitched a bit better on the road than he has at home, but of course the home numbers, as Jim mentioned, skewed by those Blue Jays games.
Oh, in my conversation, I once went 2-0, hurt my elbow, went 2-7. When I pitched well, I lost. When I pitched poorly, I lost. He's kind of going through one of those stretches. The run support not good. He knows he has to get better. One thing about how about Brandon Moss? We trade for a guy that 21, 30, and 25 home runs made the All-Star team. They do get a power bat already with 10 home runs. Play a little bit of first base if you need him tonight in right field. And I was kind of looking, I'm going, okay, who is Joey Wendell? Who's the infielder that was traded out to Oakland? And then I looked. He was arbitration eligible for the second year. So the salary, make the All-Star team, hit 25 home runs, probably would have been in the $4.5 to $6 million range. The next thing you know,
he's
wearing he's wearing an Indian uniform.
$6.5 million 1-year deal. And upstairs, and he can't reach it. So Moss down on strikes. That's number 1 for Tillman. And the first out here in the second.
Well, there's no lack of confidence here. He wants to pitch better. He wants his team to do what they've done the last 3 years, which is score some runs for him. Everybody pitcher wants that. And right there, high ball hitter, and he just went the ladder a little bit.
There's David Murphy, who is playing in left field. He'll take a strike. So Tillman has been strike 1 to all 5 batters to begin this game.
Yeah, I ran into Murphy and Moss coming down the hallway. They didn't get in until 3:30.
Yeah, they were in Kansas City last night. They made a rain delay. This ball's crushed the foul. Well back foul.
Well, part of pitching is reading bats. You won't forget where that bat head was. I said to David Murphy, I said, Moss was with him. I said, well, you're hitting home runs and your average is over 300. He says, yeah, I'm hitting with my eyes closed. I don't think that's the case, but that was some bat speed.
Grounded towards the middle, and Flaherty won't get it. They were over shifting, and towards the middle went Murphy, and he is on with a 1-out single, and that is the first hit for the Indians. Here's our Express Stat by Express Care, a LifeBridge Health partner. For locations, visit whywaitintheer.com. This is a much different team since May the 19th.
Yeah, that you can look at the offense. It's not that much better, but it is good. But look at the ERA. Their starters in their last 13 decisions are 11-2, and then the bullpen has gotten better. They got Yan Gomes back, so he'll help not only by catching but also as a right-handed hitter.
Lonnie Chisenhall now, the left-handed batting third baseman. That's outside 1-0. Chisenhall at 217. He's got a 4-game hitting streak going, but just 1 hit in each of those 4 games. He is 4 for 14, and he has really underachieved since the Indians drafted him in the first round in 2008. He's down. He can't seem to find the consistency. That ball's poked. Snyder on the run, goes back on it, has a play, and he's got it for the out, just crossing onto the warning track.
Yeah, he came into Baltimore last year, hitting, I don't know, close to 390. So against the Orioles, he's a 317 hitter, I believe, with 3 home runs. But it's one of those nights where I think the wind is blowing across the field, so if you get the ball in a little bit, you could jam some people, even though that ball's hit well. I think that ball was knocked down by the wind just a tad.
We have done some renovations here at Progressive Field.
That whole level kind of where Lonnie Chisenhall hit the ball.
Yeah, the bullpens now are up and down like at Camden Yards. Here's Yan Gomes. First ball swinging, fouls it back. Gomes, the first right-handed batter to face Tillman in this game. And there are the bullpens. The Orioles on top. Brad Brock doing his homework.
Almost, if you're the Oriole bullpen, you're almost in Shake Heights.
The Wall of Honor.
Yeah.
Bob Feller.
Rapid Robin.
Long look at Murphy at first. And a strike in the inside corner. Gomes 3 for his last 21. He's on the disabled list with that right knee injury that he suffered in a collision at the plate. Ground ball is short. Hardy's there. No good of Flaherty. There's the force on the base runner Murphy in the end. Base hit. A man left. We're through 2. No score. And here's our UMUC moment in history. The last time Shaun Marcum faced the Orioles was on September 26th of 2010. And how about this box score? Brian Roberts was at second, 0 for 5. Nick Markakis in right, 0 for 4. Ty Wigginton went 1 for 3. Luke Scott was the DH. He had a base hit. Felix P.A. 0 for 4. Adam Jones had a good game against Marcum. Matt Wieters 0 for 3. Robert Andino played third. Cesar Estouras at shortstop. So Jones and Wieters, how about that? Adam batting 6th in that lineup. Now he's a 3 or 4 hitter.
Well, Marcum went 3-0 that year against the Orioles. So did he win that game?
Yes, he did. Blue Jays won it 5-2. He is 4-2 in his career against the O's. It's ahead of David Lowe, who is back home. Grew up in Akron, Ohio. Short ride away from Cleveland. Pulls it to right field. Right there is Brandon Moss. And one away here in the Oriole third. Here's our Lowe's Never Stop Improving. Brought to you by Lowe's. And how about Manny Machado? Manny's trying to improve and cut down the strike zones.
Oh, yeah. And they're down a little bit. I mean, he's a little bit like Jimmy Paredes in the sense that when he gets hot, he does expand. Hit the 2 home runs. Maybe the strike zone got a little bit bigger. But there's so, every ballpark we go into the dressing room, you see advanced scouts. So guys are watching on TV. And, in the old days, they used to say, yeah, well, so-and-so's hot. Now they know not only is he hot, what's going on, what's he swinging or what he isn't swinging at. Why is he cold? Is he chasing? Can you get him out inside like they're going right here? This is a much tighter strike zone than so you're not going to get probably a little bit easier to hit in the sense that as far as the play's not going to be wide like it was down in Texas. Not that Marcum and Tillman can't pitch well. That'll be difficult.
Yeah, Brian Gorman was a tad generous.
They all were. And it's not that they just have big strike zones. And they had, 3 young up. And Brian had his biggest strike zone. Mm-hmm. I mean, the chalk line on both sides of the plate, that were the strikes.
Hard hit ball, gloved by Aviles. Nice play.
See, and that was the other factor.
Bad throw, but scooped on the back end by Santana.
Yeah, he had all kinds of time, and then he just kind of threw a changeup over there, and then Santana makes a nice play. But again, this is sometimes when you go into slumps, it's because you hit the ball hard.
somebody standing there. That was a hanging slider. It was hit hard, but right at Aviles. And then he almost threw it away.
2 down, nicely done on each end. First to glove it, and then the picket on the back end by Santana. Here's Travis Snyder, singled his first at bat. And he takes ball 1. He does have a good batting eye, but the power numbers have just not been there for Travis. He's gone 97 bats now without a home run. April the 12th, he hit a home run.
Hit it to left center field in Camden Yards.
That's his only home run of the year.
Yeah, I looked at the numbers last year. Pittsburgh, a bigger ballpark, hit 13 home runs last 2.5, 3 months because of injuries. Got to play a lot. Yeah, there's that good changeup.
Well, the highest OPS at Progressive Field, and as we showed you earlier, he loves hitting in this ballpark. 1.11. Calhoun, Carter, Seager, and then Snyder. 1-2 the count with 2 outs and nobody on. And then he fights it off to stay alive.
Well, one thing about Shaun Marcum, if you're a veteran and you're coming off, so I'm with Cleveland last year, if you're coming off shoulder problems like you did, you're 1-10 with the Mets, and you picked up Cleveland and you have the thoracic outlet syndrome, nerve in your neck released, and then you go to AAA and you pitch 5 games and you're 4-0, you've earned your way back to the big leagues.
And he gets Snyder. 3rd strikeout from Marcum. 7 in a row retired by the Indians right-hander. Mid-3rd in a scoreless game. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Chesapeake Employers Insurance, Maryland Workers Compensation Specialists. A beautiful sunset in Ohio. As the sun descends in the western sky. There's Tillman back to work. He has faced 7 through the first 2 innings.
I think he'd like to stay on the bench a little bit longer, let him limber up the bats, get him going.
Strike 1 to Michael Bourne. 8-9-1, Aviles on deck, and then Jason Kipnis. He has thrown strike 1 to 7 of the first 8 batters.
Yeah, he came out at 92. His average fastball this year is 91.5. And even when he pitched well last year, Chris could start at 88, 89, and then hit as high as maybe 93, 94. Another curveball that just stays high.
Now Chris is tied for the most losses in the American League with his 7. Anibal Sanchez of the Tigers, CC Sabathia of the Yankees also have 7. There's a fastball right there at the knees.
Yeah, Michael Bourne said I'd much rather be hitting 3-1 than 2-2. Because now Tillman's got 3 pitches he'll got an option to use.
Left field, David got a play. And one away here in the 3rd. The Orioles are back home on Tuesday. They'll begin a 3-game series against the rival Red Sox. Now, good still remain, but they are going fast. And don't forget about Tuesday. It's Ollie's Bargain Night, presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. All the upper reserve seats just $10 when purchased in advance. Come on out and help us paint the ballpark orange. For your tickets, go online at Orioles.com or just call the Birds at 888-848-BIRD. Mike Aviles, number 9 batter.
Yeah, inside middle hitter. I mentioned over 300, 314 against right-handed pitching.
And that's outside 2-0.
Yeah, you can see that Greg Gibson, if he's going to give you a pitch, height-wise, it's going to be more down than up. I think everybody knows that.
Outside ball 3.
Yeah, those are the counts when you're struggling, and Chris wouldn't be 2-7 if he was really on his game, where you think, okay, I'll just throw it to the outside corner, and then you pull it about a foot outside. There, so now you get a little rhythm, and when you're going well, it just seems like, boy, you wind up, they're your walk leaders.
3-1 is hit right into the shift. He splintered it, but right to Flaherty for the out. And 2 men down. Well, here's Jason coming up. And he came in batting at .330, third best in the league. He was the player of the month in May. And Jim, these numbers are off the charts. About .429 in a month. Well, he did it. 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. 30 runs scored in May after scoring just 9 in April.
Well, you get 51 hits.
That's a good way to do it.
They actually, in the paper today, they had his whole month, and he had 6 games with 3 or more hits. Never got 5, but he had 2 with 4. And he came in. This just kind of gives you an idea of how up and down baseball can be. He had 218 in the month of April. So you go from 218 to well over 400. I mean, he's a real good player.
And he's batting .398 here at Progressive Field. That is the best home batting average in the American League. Just a tick under 400. He's out of Northbrook, Illinois. Was a 2nd-round pick in 2009. He was an All-Star in 2013, then slumped last year. He's heading to an All-Star game this year. Shows bunt, takes a strike. The shift was on, so he wanted to at least thought in the minds of the Orioles.
Yeah, as hot as he is, you want him to bunt. There's the power zone. Line drive hitter with power. You can hit the ball to left field. You can get 51 hits if you're a pull hitter. Pretty tough to do.
And the 2-2 foul back.
Yeah, if you're going to go in on the inside half, you better really get it in, because the wind does seem to be blowing in a little bit, but down the right field line, this ballpark plays.
And a weak ground ball. Well, after that All-Star season in 2013, the Indians gave him a big contract. The Indians like to lock up their core players. 6-year, $52.5 million. And then he had a bad 2014 after getting the contract. But he is certainly showing that he was worth the deal this year. 2 type of the fastball, ball 3.
Well, he also, I think he had the oblique injury last year. And we really don't know. But they locked up Brantley, Santana. Been very proactive in doing that.
Here's the 8th pitch in this at bat, and Tillman lost it. So a 2-out walk, and that has been the plague of Tillman on the year. He has allowed 36 runs on the season. 20 have come in after 2 men down in the inning. That is a large percentage of the runs.
Well,
allowed.
It just gets Santana to bay. I mean, part of it is who you're pitching against. As we mentioned, Toronto, 19 of those runs. So we all know the Blue Jays can flat out hit. So when you walk somebody, you get to another guy that you can do damage. In the case here with Carlos Santana, it's the same thing. You walk Kipnis because he's red hot, hitting .330, and this guy with one swing can make it 2-0. It's kind of a double-edged sword. You know he averages 4.44 pitches per at bat. It's got to be up there with the leaders. So you know he's very disciplined. But you also know he's got tremendous power, and he airs it out when he does see a strike. See right there, I mean, that's a borderline pitch, and he's thinking about hitting it, and yet he's able to discern that it's a little out of his zone. Now you bring that ball in about 4 inches, and he's going to leave earth. He's that kind of hitter. Switch hitter.
1-1 the count with Kipnis at first and 2 down as Tillman tries to work around this walk. And the home runs, they have hurt the Orioles on the year, as the Birds, you see 60 home runs allowed, second most in the league, only 1 behind the Blue Jays. But that bottom number, nearly 43% of the runs have been driven in by home runs, most in the American League. So those long balls can do damage in a hurry. There's the 1-1 breaking ball for a strike. Real good pitch.
Well, he's got the sky hook going tonight. Best curveball I've seen him have in 2015. He gives up on it. The good curveball comes out of your hand. You do not differentiate the spin. I mean, it looks the same as the high fastball, and that's why Chris can be so tough to hit when he has that pitch working for him.
And the 1-2 right back to Tillman. Oh, he gloved it just before it got by him. He gloved that shoulders high for the out. So the 2-out walk, but Kipnis will be left stranded as Tillman gets out of it. Once you throw the ball, you're a fielder. Tillman with a good grab to end the third. Matt Wieters reinstated from the 60-day DL. Ray Navarro recalled from AAA Norfolk. And Cesar Cabral was selected from AAA Norfolk. Steve Clevenger and Mike Wright optioned back to AAA. And Everett Cabrera was designated for assignment to make room for Cabral in the bullpen. And there is Navarro on your left and Cabral on your right. Now, Brian Mattis, the appeal of his suspension was denied, so he will have to serve all 8 games. That begins tonight, which means the Orioles play a man short for the next 8 games. And what the Orioles have elected to do, at least for tonight and tomorrow, they're staying with the 7-man bullpen because with Bud Norris still on the DL, there's only 4 active starters.
And Bud's going to pitch on Sunday.
So that will have to change on Sunday.
So somebody else will be taken off the roster.
Buck Showalter.
He was very, what's the word, very diplomatic when they asked him what he thought of it. Of the fact they did not.
Jones not pleased with that swing.
Yeah,
he pops it up to second base, 1 away.
Yeah. Another little lone away slider. Hard to hit.
Well, when the Orioles win, everybody wins. When the Orioles win and score 5 or more runs, you get 50% off regular menu pricing when you online order at papajohns.com by entering the promo code Orioles5. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Valid at participating Baltimore area Papa John's.
Yeah, I think Papa John would like the Orioles to give away more pizza. They're only averaging 3.35 runs on the road this year, with many games to be played, so that certainly can change. But the word that I heard, did Will Smith get his, who also had a foreign substance on his arm? Didn't he get his?
Reduced by 2 games, I think.
Right, and Brian got the full 8 games.
My question about it was, and Buck, again, you said it right, he was diplomatic. He didn't want to be quoted. But if a starter gets 5 games, but a reliever gets 8, you're really hurting the club. Not that a reliever is going to pitch in all 8, but they're available to pitch in any of the 8.
Well, you could pitch in at least half of them. That would be a fair.
But a starter goes once every 5 days.
That's 1 game.
Right. It's basically all he does is he gets extra day of rest.
Well, they need to look at that.
It just doesn't seem fair to the reliever. Now, the moral of the story is don't get caught with stuff on your arm. You don't have to worry about it, but still, it seems like a large penalty for the punishment on Brian Mattis.
Well, I was talking about it yesterday. I just think it's very punitive, and it hurts the team. And the union does a great job. The Major League Baseball union does a great job of protecting their players, health-wise, meal money, all the basic agreement things, salaries, obviously the average salary,
arbitration.
I mean, you can go right down a list, a litany of things. But now you got to play short. So what does that do to your bullpen? Just injuries to the guys that are sitting in the bullpen.
And there's a 1-out walk. Chris Davis works it, so the Orioles get their 3rd base runner. And the first since Davis singled in the first. Well, the O's and Indians will meet again at Oriole Park. It's a 3-game weekend series that begins on Friday, June 26. Now, that night, don't miss the next season's fireworks night. Stay after the game. The Birdland skies will light up with a beautiful post-game fireworks display. Celebrate a summer night with your friends and family. For your tickets, Orioles.com or call 888-848-BIRD. And here is Matt Wieters for his 2nd at-bat. Each time he's been up, there's been a man on. Last time it was 2. And he takes ball 1.
Yeah, Matt is the master, and I know he hasn't had, this is only his 2nd at bat. He's been hitting really since the beginning of spring training. Then he backed off, and then probably, what did he say the other day when he came up to join the club and to go back down? He said, I've played more day games than I've ever played in my career. Just trying in the rehab process down at Sarasota. But he can time guys, and his back can get pretty quick.
You know, the 11 a.m. games at extended spring, you're playing against minor leaguers and other players who are rehabbing. The extended spring rosters are filled with minor league players who have not been assigned to full season affiliates. So they're waiting for the short season teams to start up, which will be in a couple of weeks For the Orioles, that will be Aberdeen and the Gulf Coastals. 1-1 the count. And a strike. And a changeup.
It really is. He can move the ball around the strike zone. You just got to hope that he makes a mistake, and when he does, you're able to do something with it. And that's really what pitching with minimal velocity is about. Movement, in and out. As we mentioned, add and subtract. He's done a nice job to this point of doing that.
1-2 is in the dirt. He won't chase. Matt Wieters, 181 games he missed, 390 days in between his last game May the 10th and his game here tonight. In 2012, he had career highs in home runs with 23 and RBIs with 83. And a good take.
You can see his leg kick is not as pronounced. And that's the front leg. When he came up to the big leagues, I remember talking to Terry Crowley. I said, that's a high leg kick. And the Crow said, well, watch this. It's just a lift. It used to be pretty pronounced. And Terry said, well, my experience is major league hitters get that leg down.
Davis runs. The 3-2 is lifted to left field. He got a lot of it. David Murphy is back at the wall. It is off the wall and in play. Davis rounds third. He will be sent towards the plate. And Matt Wieters, in his first game back, has given the Orioles a 1-0 lead with an RBI double. So he worked the count full, the runner in motion, and the Orioles grabbed the lead.
Well, he's like a big bird. He's got tremendously long arms, so you think you make a good pitch. It's up a little bit. And I'm telling you right now, Chris Davis is already around second base. So when Murphy doesn't catch it, he's going to score easy. If he does catch it, and I'm not saying he shouldn't have been aggressive because he got a great read on the ball, he's going to get thrown out. It's going to be a double play, but the ball goes over the head. The Orioles get their run. They get another guy in scoring position. So welcome back, Matt.
There's your 500 hitting catcher. And he's in scoring position with one down for Jimmy Paredes, who is certainly due. He struck out his first at bat, did Jimmy, and then he swings through it, 0-1 for Paredes. He is now 2 for his last 29 with 17 strikeouts. So not being able to put the ball in play. He's also now 41 at bats without an RBI. He can end that right here.
Even though he's 15 for 29 with runners in scoring position.
Bounce towards the hole, glove by Santana. Flip to Marcum covering up. Paredes retired, and on the play, Wieters goes to third, but now with 2 men down. So Paredes had allowed foul his first at bat before striking out. That ball was hit hard, but Santana able to glove. So Wieters at third with 2 down. And Ryan Flaherty with a chance to get him in.
Yeah, they'll put a kind of a semi-shift that we've seen, and Aviles is looking into the dugout. Where do you really want me to play? Because for the runner on third, they're going to play Chisenhall pretty much where third basemen play because of the fact that Ryan could drop a bunt down. So this is kind of a conventional straightaway infield. But he's hit a lot more balls to left than he has in years past.
That would be a part of the game that Ryan Flaherty really should add. The drag bunt. It would be perfect in a situation like this, the way they're playing.
Well, the drag bunt is when you bunt to first,
right.
Where you just pull it with the old. Well, Mickey Mantle was the best, and then you just push it the other way. And
with Chisenhall respecting Wieters at third, it would be unlikely he would go that way.
No, and that's why they're kind of doing it. They're not worried about Matt Wieters. You throw from a stretch in this situation anyway. He's not going to steal home. They just don't want Flaherty to drop a bunt down, and their defense is going to take that away. Now, he could drag the ball and then just beat the pitcher to the mound.
2-0 is fouled back. Looked like he was trying to poke it to left field.
And we've seen him do that. 2 triples in the first 2 games, back-to-back games. He hit those balls straight away. Got another hit over the head of Altuve, who kind of mistimed it, but it was hit real well. So they had a pretty good series. And the other thing about Ryan Flaherty, when you see him play defensively, he is a jack of all trades. He can play all over the infield, play the outfield.
Line towards the gap in right center field. That's going to be a base hit. Wieters will score, and Ryan Flaherty delivers. A huge turn at first, and he gets back as Michael Bourne ran it down. So a 2-out RBI hit for Flaherty, and the Birds have a 2-0 lead here in the fourth.
Well, we talked about Marcum. You can get away with this stuff as long as you make good pitches. He got a ball up to Wieters. He got behind Flaherty, 3-1. He gets another ball up, and Bourne gets to it quickly enough to keep it from being a double, but the Orioles do add their second run of the inning. Nothing like those 2-out base hits to if you're pitching against a team like that. Nothing more annoying. But an awfully good at bat.
And a toss to first. So the Orioles, after seeing 8 in a row retired, sending a 6th batter to the plate here in the 4th inning. For Flaherty, it's his 8th RBI. And the Orioles now with a 2-run lead. Marcum to Hardy. It's in the dirt, scooped by Yan Gomes. Our Jeep inside the numbers. Well, top and bottom runner scoring position. The Orioles came in third, 297. The Indians at 232. So the Orioles getting the hit with a runner in scoring position by Flaherty, and continuing what they have excelled at during the season. One and 0 on Hardy. Waves at the breaking ball went too far, and it's 1-1.
Man, if you're sitting at home and you're going, well, how does a major league hitter do that? Don't pick the spin up. And that's why, again, coming in 132 Raiders. So that slider is devastating. That's a pitch that comes into the lefties. It's more hittable, but it goes away. At least the intention is down and away from the righties. And if you don't pick the spin up, a good slider, the spin is so tight it looks like your fastball. You go to get it, and then the ball, with good tilt, not only slides down, but it slides down and away. And if you throw enough of them, it gives you the ability to pitch inside.
1-1 on JJ with Flaherty at first and 2. That time he checked his swing, so maybe that time he did pick up the spin. JJ started last Sunday at home. He sat out the first 3 games in Houston entirely, and then yesterday got in the game in the 9th inning. He tried to talk his way into the lineup yesterday, but Buck Showalter wanted him to rest one more day.
Well, he did come in for defense.
Popped him up. Chisenhall now in foul ground. And he's got it for the out. A long inning for Shaun Marcum and a productive inning for the Birds. Matt Wieters, his first RBI of the year, and the Orioles on top. Harry finally beginning to put it together.
Well, yeah,
this season.
This season. Well, I don't get to see him pitch on a regular basis because I'm running around doing baseball things. But when I see him in spring training, 93, 94, 2 springs ago, I'm watching him throw from behind, and I'm going, this kid has everything. But then I realized, and we were talking in between innings, that maybe not very aggressive. So now all of a sudden using his stuff.
Apparently his stuff is so good he tries to use all of it instead of it.
Well, in spring training, I said, well, so what are you going to work on? He saw my curveball, and I said, well, how about working on your fastball and your changeup? Then you can throw your curveball anytime you want, because he's got a good one. But you can also get back in counts with it.
Well, good to see him pitching well, and he's on the 40-man roster. So.
Well, he's a guy that I would, just from watching him in the spring, and that certainly doesn't tell you the whole story, project to pitch in the big leagues.
50th round pick.
Well, that's because he had Tommy John out of high school, so he kind of went a little bit. So the task for Chris Tillman is they don't get you a lot of runs, but they did get you 2. And you're back into the heart of the lineup, 3, 4, 5. Try to have a shutdown inning if possible.
Goes to 3-0. Brantley, Moss, and Murphy.
Yeah, all you got to do is look at the last inning. Marcum has only walked 1. That was with Chris Davis out. And he, then a double. And an RBI single. And give up 2 runs.
The Indians, a hot team. They've won 6 of 8. And they've gone 12-4 in their last 16 to get back within a game of 500.
Went to Kansas City and beat them 2 out of 3.
And from 3-0 to 3-2.
Well,
the Indians have actually played better on the road for some reason. They're 16-13 away, so 3 above, but they're 4 below at home.
Well, they scored 3.76 runs here and 5 on the road.
That helps.
There's your big difference.
And the 3-2 is fouled back.
Yeah, I mean, when you're scoring a run in a quarter, now they don't have to do that when their pitching is as good as it has been. I mean, look, since, as we mentioned, I kind of threw that number out there, but they're 11-2 since the 18th of May, their starters. And their ERA, they're 12-5 as a team, but their ERA is 2.85.
And inside, got away from Wieters, so that'll be ball 4, and there's a leadoff walk after Tillman got a 2-0 lead. Well, be sure to text Masson's word of the day, which is outfield, to 29292 for your chance to win a meet and greet with Chris Davis. That's outfield to 29292 for your chance to win, courtesy of Outback Steakhouse. Don't forget, your grads and dads get a $10 bonus with a $50 Outback gift purchase.
So they get exactly what they want. Down by 2, they get a lead off. And not only they get the walk on a 3-2 curveball.
And a potential base stealer as well. He's 7 out of 7. An appeal, he didn't go. Close pitch on the outer part of the plate or just off the plate.
Unless you had somebody extended spring watching Matt Wieters throw. I'm not sure they'll let him run right here, Jim, and the reason is maybe they want to keep the first base hole open for Moss, because he can pull the ball and he can hit for power. My theory was as you go through the lineup the second time, they get to see your stuff, they get to know you getting your curveball over or not. Have you thrown many changeups? The only changeup he's thrown, he got the double play from Bramlett. So that's when you got to get a little bit better. You got to be aggressive. You got to trust your stuff, and getting behind hitters, especially the heart of the order, is not a good way to do it. And the thing is that Chris Tillman knows all this.
2-1 on Moss, who struck out his first at bat. Inside, ball 3. Tillman has had a lot of trouble this year pitching in half innings following innings in which the Orioles have scored. You want to, as Jim mentioned, put up a 0 here. He's already allowed the leadoff man to reach, and he's 3-1 on Moss. And a good start. He found it back.
Well, I think the frustrating thing for everybody, and Chris would be in that group, is everybody wants to do it. But how do you do it? You do it by being aggressive. You go back and you look. I mean, that's what your sides are about. Okay, I've been a little bit wild. My walk ratio this year is up. About 1.5 walks per 9 innings. Control's never been Chris Tillman's problem.
Center field, right where Adam Jones had him played. And puts it away for the out. Nice comeback there by Tillman, falling behind 3-1, and he gets Brandon Moss for the first out.
And the other point is, if you know that he has trouble after they score runs for him, and they don't score a lot of runs for him,
they know that.
They know that, and so does he.
Right.
So I need to use those 9 pitches to make sure that I'm really ready to pitch this inning. And I saw it with Freddie Garcia when he was throwing 96 miles per hour. He could get away with it. He'd come out, a loop 2 or 3, 4 pitches, and then take him a couple pitches to get into the inning. He could do it because his stuff was that good. Chris Tillman hadn't been able to do that this year, so you really have to focus.
Strike on the inside corner to David Murphy.
And there's just those little nuances you try to do, and it's the constant improvement of trying to get a little bit better. I mean, Chris, over the last 2.5 years, has been as good as right-hander in baseball has been that good. This year, for whatever the reason, it's been a struggle.
Leader set up away from the plate. And Tillman hit the glove, but it was outside. He said before the game he didn't expect it would take long to get back in sync with the pitchers because of his long history with most of them. Again, setting up away from David Murphy.
Yeah, just trying to hit the outside corner, and he's off by an inch or two.
Been behind every hitter this inning. 2-1 now on Murphy. Pokes it foul the other way. Long run for Lowe, and Machado is going to be back in the crowd out of play.
Yeah, see, there's a change up in a 2-1 count. This whole inning started when he kept missing to Brantley, and then he threw him a curveball. Yeah, he's thrown it over tonight, but 3-2 is a 2-run lead. You want to make the guy put the ball in play. I don't care if it's Mickey Brantley. I don't care if it's Mike Trout. So you throw something that's a little bit more like your fastball. He just seen 6 in a row, and that's what he did to Murphy. You know, he's thrown him all fastballs. Did get him out with a curveball the first time, but he threw him a changeup in a fastball count because it looks the same. And it's easier to fool a guy in your changeup than it is on the curveball. And you want to swing in certain situations.
And the 2-2 is a called strike 3. He did paint the outside corner. Wieters kept going out there, and that time Tillman got the call for a big out, 2 away.
Yeah, he'd been trying to nibble right on the corner, and right there.
Nice presentation.
Yeah, this is the first pitch that Greg Gibson has actually given the pitcher tonight. And what do you say if you're Murphy, other than head back to the bench? That ball was off the plate outside. Break for the Orioles.
2 down for Chisenhall. And the breaking ball bends in there for a strike. Now the dynamic between the pitcher and the catcher, and we realize Matt Wieters certainly knows Chris Tillman. You rarely see Chris Tillman shake off, so it appears that whatever they discuss before the game, he just throws whatever Wieters wants. So they're that in sync. If the pitcher's not shaking off, he's obviously agreeing with what the suggestion is.
And there are games, and Matt Wieters certainly knows Chris Tillman as well as anybody because he's caught him. Caleb Joseph's done a terrific job. The ERA for him last year was 3 runs a game. Incredibly low for a rookie catcher.
And the 21st pitch of the inning has popped up. Machado's got to play, man. He squeezes it fair territory, and the inning ends. So the leadoff walk is left stranded at first. Through 4, Tillman and the O's with a lead.
Trying to get back on track. And Santana trying to get a base hit with a man on the middle, but nope. Snared, and then boy, one thing about Matt Wieters, loves the ball out over the plate. Chris Davis had walked. The Orioles will take the 1-0 lead. And then a Flaherty 3-1 count, right center field single to make it 2-0. And those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
Well, nice return from Matt Wieters. Once again, he's one of the fellows sitting there with Caleb Joseph. Matt was telling me before the game that he enjoyed, well, he had no choice, but he enjoyed watching Caleb Joseph and Ryan LeVar and Steve Clevenger, and actually was intrigued by the way he would handle the pitchers, and he's going to take some of that into his game.
Well, you're always trying to learn. I think he had 2 new pitching coaches last year with Dom Cheedy and Dave Wallace. So, you know, they brought the low and away philosophy in, where you can, if you can command your fastball, and it's easier to have a good windup and easier on your arm, more quality pitches. And the Orioles had a drastic turnabout in their pitching last year. Yeah, they struggled in April. I don't know if it was the weather or whatever, but now you're kind of back on track to where the Orioles were in 2015 or 14.
And there's a line drive base hit for the local guy, David Lowe. So he's back home, and he's got a leadoff single here in the 5th. The Orioles, the Yankees, it's a 3-game weekend series beginning next Friday, June 12th. Now, tickets are going fast for this one, so don't miss out. Whenever New York is in Baltimore for a weekend, they usually sell out. Now, each game, fans are encouraged to bring any non-perishable food items or cash donations to the ballpark all to benefit the Maryland Food Bank. It's all part of the Orioles' annual Orioles Reach Food and Funds Drive presented by One Main Financial. Food donations are also now being accepted at participating One Main Financial branches. For tickets, 888-848-BIRD, or go online at Orioles.com.
Yeah, the Yankees kind of the walking wounded in a way. The man had an MRI on his foot. Ellsbury's got the sprained knee. But got Tanaka back, throwing 95 miles per hour. He will pitch well up in Seattle. And the Yankees are leading the American League East by, what, a half a game?
And they are leading the Angels tonight. 4-0 in the fourth. Manny's 0 for 2. And with speed on at first, it is slowing down the game as Shaun Marcum is very concerned with David Lowe.
Well, if you look at the average for Manny Machado, it is highest when he hits second. So now he's like hitting second because Lowe got on. You can hit the ball to right field with the best of them. There's a huge hole we always talk about with left-handed hitters, but that hole does exist for righties. Now, whether he'll get that pitch to hit it there, but and he could hit the ball to right field, double power all over the place. He's going to hit home runs, but if he tries to hit home runs, the average will plummet. It's just the way it is. It's funny, you talk to hitters and you go, you ever hit a home run when you try? They go, yeah, but it cost me hundreds and hundreds of bats to try to do that.
He hit the 2 home runs last Sunday. David 1 out of 4 on the steals.
But they were straight away, so you kind of like that approach.
Oh, yeah.
One was the right field and one,
one
center
right
field.
center.
Yeah.
The Orioles are second to last in the American League in steals, just 19 as a club. And Manny's got 8 of those, so really just 11 steals from everybody else.
Oh, they were last in baseball the last 2 years.
They play for the big inning. Buck does not like giving up outs on the bases. And Lowe's running. Swing and a miss. Throw to second by Gomes is high, and Lowe stops. And now they got him in a rundown, and he's tagged out. So that'll go as a caught stealing.
Well, I assume it was a hit and run. But then again, from that, I'm thinking maybe it isn't. That's a straight steal. But then he looks and he knows he has no chance. See, there are guys, and Brady Anderson does work for the club, and Brady, he hit home runs and he also could steal 50 bases. There's a big difference between being fast and having instincts to steal bases. To be honest, David Lowe may not have those instincts, but he also doesn't have the experience because he doesn't get on that much. I mean, Kirby, I'm sure frustrated because you got to pick your spots, and if you can't go or you don't think you can make it, you don't go. Because if it was a hit and run, he would have looked earlier than he did.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic in the sense that on a team where the stolen base is not utilized often, several, if not all, of the Orioles have the green light, but they just don't take advantage of it.
Well, because they don't run very much. I thought years ago when Joe Torre first came to the Yankees, I think maybe his 3rd year, 1998, I was talking to him. He said, I let everybody run on their own in spring training because I wanted to know who couldn't run and who knew when to run. O'Neill, I think Paul O'Neill was a very good athlete, won a batting title. He stole 15 out of 15.
3 called. Manny fooled on the off-speed pitch. So an inning that started out promising with a leadoff single, now 2 outs and nobody on.
Yeah, it's just I don't know if it's a fastball. It looked like it's just a changeup that, Gomes puts the club inside. It just gets fooled. And it freezes him. And of course, when you look down, that means you might have thought the ball was either inside or away. The perspective of the strike zone. Maybe a little bit confused in that at bat.
Travis Snyder hooks it foul. Wayne Kirby will make a friend. As Wayne played here for the Indians.
Yeah, I just don't think that the Orioles have enough guys to try to steal bases when you're not scoring runs to run yourself into outs. It'd be different if you really had guys that could steal.
Off the end of the bat to center field for Michael Bourne, and the inning ends. So leadoff single with none left, and a 10-pitch inning for Shaun Marcum. Mid-fifth, 2-0. Jimenez will take the mound against Danny Salazar. Coverage on MASN 2 begins at 3:30 with those extra presented by Jeep. And then game coverage at 4 o'clock on MASN 2 and WJZ as well. We've got all the access you need right here on MASN. And you know Ubaldo wants to pitch well in his former home ball.
Well, look at those numbers. He better. And they know him, of course, because he played here. And, you know, Ubaldo pitched very well down in Houston, left with a 2-1 lead. And then Salazar was a guy that had Tommy John. Very good arm. He came back up into the big leagues last year, struggled early, and then pitched really well. So one of those games, 4 o'clock games, it will be a twilight game where it will be tougher to see the norm.
Lower third of the lineup against Tillman. Gomes, Bourne, and Aviles. And first ball swinging and a foul. Tillman, 43 pitches combined in just the last 2 innings. He threw 23 pitches over the first 2, 43 over the last 2.
Stop it. Stop doing it.
Ground ball towards the middle. Hardy can't get it. He was playing in the hole, and Gomes is on with a single. So he is 1 out of 2. And in the second straight inning, leadoff man on in a 2-run game. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Orioles and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Big crowd on hand on this Friday night in Cleveland. Renovated Progressive Field, which used to be the Jake, named after the Jacobs family, the owners of the team.
And fireworks tonight. Chris Tillman hoping it doesn't start early. Yeah, that wasn't a bad pitch. It's just you know, the curveball. It's kind of throw it. You can't command it as well as your other fastballs. I mean, it was good. It was down, and he just hit a routine ground ball. But as you mentioned, Hardy's shifted over into the hole of the shade. Hey, I love to get the first guy out because it closes hole. And then they get him on, and you know, Bourne, you know, signed a 4-year deal. Signed at the end of what, a couple of years ago, has never really materialized with the speed factor that he had in the National League. And one of those guys that you know he's occasionally going to run into a pitch.
Tillman gets ahead 1-2. Well, Michael Bourne, he came to the Indians on a 4-year, $48 million deal. And there's also an option for 2017. If he has 550 plate appearances next year, that option vests. So $12 million a year for 4 years plus the option. Check swing, they appeal. He did not go. It's Marvin Hudson at third.
Yeah, Greg Gibson actually went right down behind the plate, and wondering if he's going to get a little help there.
Yep, he
thought about it. Yeah, very nice, really nice block by Matt Frieders. Easily that curveball could have gotten by.
Peek at the bench just in case. And 2-2 on Bourne. Slipped out of his hand for ball 3. Well, Tillman has said that the biggest problem he's had on the year is consistently commanding those secondary pitches.
Well, the changeup has always been a higher percentage pitch for him. Even in 13-6, 16 wins a year before, it's about 45% of the time.
Runner up, go, and a swing and a miss. Bourne down on strikes, 1 away.
But he has a good fastball tonight. And it's not that you don't use your curveball, but you want to have easy innings, go out and throw 3 fastballs low and away and take your chances. And he hasn't been able to do that. But this time he gets up in the zone.
Now here is Mike Aviles, the number 9 batter. Grounded out sharply to Ryan Flaherty, his first at bat. Throws bunt, takes a strike. Now there's a real good breaking ball.
Oh, he has a good one. I mean, he probably had the best curveball of the year. I just don't think when they score you 2 runs leading off an inning, you throw it, because it's, again, maybe it's a 60% pitch tonight. But his changeup's a higher percentage strike pitch, and so is his fastball. And he's got 2 good ones of those.
Too high and lays off 1-1.
Now, Aviles, if you want to classify, he is a really good fastball hitter. And if you don't get the ball on the outer third of the plate, then you got yourself a problem. It becomes a pull hitter with power. So look at the glove and see if you can hit it.
And he does to right field. Aviles hits it, heading to third. Here's the throw cut off. Throw behind the runner at first and safe. Aviles got back in. So Gomes goes to third, challenging Snyder. And the Indians have something going here. First and third, and 1 man down.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that he went. I mean, here's the back end of the play. They're trying to get the second out. But I just didn't think Gomes was going to run on that ball because it hit so sharply. He didn't even hesitate. So there's your scouting report. And Travis Snyder didn't even make an attempt. He hit the cutoff man, so that's how you almost got the back out. But see, there's a fastball. Instead of getting it away, he got it kind of down, but in the middle of the plate, he just sliced it into right field.
So the tying runs are on. The lineup turns over, and here's Tillman to face the Indians' hottest hitter, and Jason Kipnis, who is 1 plus a walk. Infield at double play depth with 1 down.
And now, because of the circumstances, you have to pitch to him.
Hit right towards the middle and a base hit. Kipnis delivers for Cleveland. It's a 1-run game. So another ground ball eluding a fielder. 3 hits in the inning, and the Indians coming back.
Yeah, he was all over that hook, though. And it wasn't a bad curveball, but it ended up in the middle of the plate. And the curveball, you don't usually have the same control. So he tries to catch it behind him. By kind of a sequence. Tillman can't catch it, Hardy can't catch it, but Jones does, so he holds the runners at first and second. And because your off guy is your best hitter, the table setters forced you to pitch to him. And when you do, they set the table and he drives in the run.
7 and 9 with singles in this inning to get the leadoff man, and the leadoff man delivers. And here is Carlos Santana. He walked in the first and then was robbed of a possible base hit on a nice stop by Tillman to end the third. And now the crowd getting back into it. It's a 2-1 game. Outside, ball 1.
Ideally, when you try to get hitters out, you hope that they'll chase out of the zone. Santana won't. You hope that they're not disciplined. He is.
Facing the most disciplined hitter in the Indians lineup, and a changeup he swings through.
He walked 113 times last year. So if you can make these pitches, there's the changeup. If you go back and look where it ended up on the plate, it really wasn't that. It's kind of middle of the plate, but the arm action fooled him.
1-1 on Santana, first and second with 1 down. Center field, he crushed it. Adam Jones back, way out there, and makes the catch in front of the wall. And the runners have to retreat.
Well, there's your win factor. Well, we saw him go up into the trees last year. And off the bat, you think it's getting out of here, but you got a 4-time Gold Glover that makes it look routine. Meanwhile, the is knocking it down just enough to keep it from going off the wall or maybe over.
And there's the flag blowing in from right center field. So Adam with a nice play. Big out for Tillman. 2 men down. And the runners back to first and second. So here's Brantley, who has bounced into a double play and walked. Line drive, that's a base hit, right field. Snyder was towards the gap. Being sent as Aviles. Throw will go back behind the runner, and we are tied. It is a 4-hit inning, and a 2-out base hit gets this game even.
Bradley can just flat out hit. I mean, it's real. Watch how short his swing. Look where the bat hit is. I mean, it's down and in. Not too many lefties don't like it there. Not going to tie it up. Kipnis doesn't even hesitate all the way to third base.
So Brantley picks up his 33rd RBI, 4 hits in the inning and 2 runs in, and we're back even. And another 2-out run. So 21 of 38 now against Tillman, scoring with 2 down in an inning.
Yeah, how many times do we talk about it when the Orioles score a bunch of runs, how important it is to have the back end of your lineup do well, and that's what set up this whole inning. 7 and 9 get base hits, and all of a sudden you're, and not only you're back to the top of your lineup, you're back to the top of the lineup for the 3rd time. As you mentioned, 20 plus pitches in the previous 2 innings. You've got to be right about there now.
So here is Brandon Moss. Go ahead runners at 3rd. And Brantley on at first with good speed. Here's Kipnis at 3rd. And Brantley being held by Chris Davis. 7th batter to come up this inning. Inside for ball 2. Big moment in this game for Tillman.
Yeah, you would think this would just be a changeup. Right to the glove. Over the fastball missed. Yeah, Chris has never really pitched well here. I mean, he's 1-2 lifetime, and his ERA over 7 runs a game. Now, different cast of characters. P.J. McFarland getting loose.
3-0 on Moss.
Maybe swinging.
And he takes a strike. Outside corner, maybe didn't like the location.
Now you look at Brandon Moss and you don't think, I mean, he doesn't look like he's that big, but he's got tremendous bat speed. And that's how you hit 20 to 30 home runs the last 3 years. 21, 25, 30.
Now here's the 21st pitch of this inning. Hard hit. Right to Davis, knocks it down. He'll pick it up and scamper to the base, and he dives in to get Moss to end the inning. So Tillman gets out of it, but the Indians draw even. 4 hits, 2 left. We're through 5 in a 2-2 game. Mercedes dealership, and by PNC for the achiever in you. Along the shores of Lake Erie in Cleveland, Ohio, each team 2 runs on 5 hits. Those had a 2-0 lead. Buck Showalter saw Chris Tillman allow 2 runs in the 5th, so each team had a 2-run inning. O's have stranded 3. The Indians have stranded 5, and here we go. New game as we head to the 6th. Marcum, 70 pitches to get through 5 innings. He's had only 1 extended pitch inning. That was in the 4th when the Orioles scored their 2 runs. He threw 24 pitches in that inning to get through 6 batters.
Yeah, he came in at averaging 15.8. So he's a little bit ahead of that. He's had some pretty efficient innings.
Adam is 0 for 2. Davis and Wieters will follow. And he bunts, popped it up, and it went foul. Fortunately for Adam, it went foul.
Yeah, great idea, though. Chisenhall's playing back. He will come in a step. You don't always do it with a count 0-0. He's still not going to play way in, but maybe he's going to play the same way. And he won't do it twice in a row. Maybe put it past him.
And that is a part of his game that he works on every single day in batting practice. Deep left field. That ball's going to go way out and gone. You show bunt, you hit it out. The Orioles have the lead.
So I guess Lonnie Chisenhall at 3rd knew something we didn't. Talk about a hanging slider.
And our Maryland Lottery contestant of the game, Mark Urich of Gettysburg, has just won another $500. Yep, there's the happy cartoon bird.
Yeah, that was like one of those 435-foot shots. And again, here the high wall, and then you get a crowd of people. It's one of those no-doubters.
David Murphy just turned to admire it in left field. He didn't even move. So Adam now is homered in back-to-back days. He now has 8 on the year. And yesterday he ended his streak. As Davis takes he had gone 83 consecutive at-bats without a homer.
Yeah, there's the hanging slider, and it speeds the bat up. And it's just a matter of really how quickly and how far it's going to go. Just imagine if you're a fan out there.
Davis gets into one to right. Did he get under it? Moss is back on the warning track, and he makes the catch.
Well, there's the win factor. I mean, he didn't hit it like Chris Davis could really hit it. But again, the field goes out there. It goes kind of out, cuts out to that 373. And then the wind knocking it down. We saw the ball off the bat of Carlos Santana get knocked down a little bit, but pretty good. But also 2 very hittable pitches.
And here is Matt Wieters in his return to the Orioles. And he'll take ball 1.
Well, he just flicked that double over the head of Murphy.
Callister getting loose, the right-hander.
Yeah, the Orioles have seen him as not only out of the bullpen, but also as a starting pitcher.
As Marcum has been plagued by the home run. This is his 5th game and 4th start for the Indians. And Adam Jones gives the Orioles the lead back in a foul ball. Most home runs allowed. Shaun Marcum is on the list. 1.22 per 9 innings. Adam Jones 2 career homers against Marcum. So Marcum now with 7 home runs allowed. He's allowed 5 solos and 2 two-run home runs. So 9 of the 15 runs he's allowed have come in on those swings. And the Orioles certainly thrive on the long ball. And Wieters has another base hit. A hook swing in the right field for a 1-out single. Matt is 2 for 3 in his return.
Well, Terry Francona knows his pitching staff. Mickey Callaway, terrific pitching coach. So all of a sudden the quality of the pitches here in the 6th of Shaun Marcum not as good as they were early on. There he is, Mickey Callaway coming out. I mean, he's really resurrected this pitching staff. We do have Corey Kluber. They don't score for him this year, but he's the reigning Cy Young Award winner in the American League. And if you stay with us the next couple of days, you're going to see some really good stuff from their pitchers. Trevor Bauer. There is McAllister, so at his age, I'm sure he's ready. Well, yeah, when you're young, I mean, it doesn't take you long to get loose.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, you probably know that feeling, don't you?
So a quick chat just to buy time for the bullpen. And here is Paredes, and each time he comes up, we say it.
Don't say it.
Okay, I won't.
He's about to get hot.
He's due.
And he's also, for him, when you're hitting close to 400, the Mendoza line, which is really under 300, and he's at 301. So if he doesn't get a hit here, he will drop into the 290s, which is still not too bad, but precipitous fall from where he was.
From where he started. And he'll take a strike. Jimmy is 0 for 2. He's got Wieters on at first with 1 down. So the Orioles with a home run as Adam Jones hits his 8th. You just look at the way this roster is made up. The Orioles, Jim, are 20 and 14, 6 games above 500 when they hit a home run. But they are just 4 and 15 when they don't home. That is a tremendous drop-off.
Now, do you have the earned run average when that happens? Maybe we'll come up with that by tomorrow. I would like to see that.
Would you like ours or theirs?
No, I want to know when the Orioles are 4 and 15 when they don't hit a home run. How'd they pitch that day?
How the opponents pitch or the Orioles pitch?
The Orioles pitch.
Okay.
And how they pitched on the days they hit the home runs.
Might take me a couple of days, but
No,
we'll get that
yeah,
for you.
Yeah, inside the numbers.
Jeep inside the numbers.
Well, that too.
The Paredes with a good team.
Well, the stuff is going downhill very fast here. Hopefully Jimmy Paredes will. And right now, I'm sure if Terry Francota's saying, please, if you don't make a good pitch, walk it, because I'm coming to get you. With the consequences of getting one in the middle of the plate, the Orioles might hit another home here or maybe something up the gap.
And the 3-1 is fouled back. He had a cut.
Yeah, real good cut. Well, those were the kind of pitches that Jimmy Paredes were getting early on, and he didn't miss them, but he got more of them. Well, there's your pitch to hit. And because of Matt Wieters doesn't run that well, you're most likely not going to be starting the runner.
3-2 on Paredes. Wieters has a very small lead off first. Bounce foul past Wayne Kirby. So Matt Wieters 2 for 3 in his return. Orioles have the lead right back, so Marcum guilty of what has plagued Orioles starters a tad on the year. He gives up a run the next half inning after his team scored for him. And it's 3-2 on Paredes with Wieters on the first. And he fights it off to stay alive.
Yeah, he's after all the arm surgery, the Tommy John and then the thoracic outlet syndrome, he's got to almost be perfect. We've seen that tonight. He's made a lot of good pitches, but when he doesn't, fastball around 85, 86. It's going to be tough to be really that successful. And he's actually kept him in the game. And he's able to get out of this, and he'll still be in the ballgame.
And a hard hit ball right to the first baseman. Santana steps on the bag. Now he's got Wieters in a rundown. And tag him out for an unassisted double play. What a tough break for Paredes. He hits the ball hard, and it ends up in an inning-ending double play. So real smart play by Santana. He was going to the bag anyway, and then he tags Wieters. But Adam Jones leading off the sixth. He goes deep. His 8th home run of the year. Birds have the lead back at 3-2. Families and patients at the University of Maryland Medical Center by attending a special fundraiser before the Friday, June 26th game against the Cleveland Indians. For $50, you'll receive a game ticket plus access to an exclusive pregame event that begins at 5 p.m. and includes a player appearance, batting practice, viewing from the Oriole Park roof deck bar, a gift, drink vouchers, and more. For your tickets and more information, visit Orioles.com/Shannon's Fun. We sure do miss Shannon.
Very much so. What a great view it is up from that area. Yeah. We've done a couple of openings from up there.
Have you?
Yeah. Invite me once a year.
Invite me one time.
Oh, you're too busy with Mr. Dempsey. Down in your own private little patio. That's press level.
Oh, it is kind of like a patio.
It is your own. And if you had your own dressing room and shower and all that, it would be like a suite. You could live there.
Do you have any people that could do that?
No, Rick Dempsey does, but he could eat at his restaurant. This would be perfect.
You'd never have to leave. Pulled down the line. That's a fair ball, and it goes into the corner. He got a pitch hit on 1-2, and there's the tying run in the scoring position leading off in the sixth.
Yeah, another curveball. Reminds me the first home run I threw to Harold Baines, got him off on a great career, was right about here. Thought it was a good pitch, but down and in, he just dropped the bat. He golfed it down the right field line in Baltimore for his first home run. David Murphy says thank you very much. Late on the fastball, you hit it over the dugout, and then you throw the ball. And if you throw it down and away, maybe you get him out. Down and in, it's right to his power.
Chaz Rowe now getting loose. McFarland was up last inning. We'll see what Francona does. He's at home. Chisenhall does have a couple of sacks on the year, and he does bunt it. He pops it up foul back this way.
Probably not a true strength. Yeah, better defensively. I mean, he had a nice year for him last year. He hit 280. As he started out, as we mentioned, when they came in, I think it was in June. He was hitting like 390. I mean, it was hit everything the Orioles threw.
And he tries to bunt again, and he flat out missed it. That's a strike and 1-2.
Well, not only did he do that, he bunted at the ball. I'm sure there are Cleveland fans saying, how does he not know how to bunt? I can tell you how. He doesn't really hit off, you don't do it in live game situations.
Ground ball towards the hole. Murphy going ahead. Hardy to third. The tag, he is out at third base.
Yeah,
and the Orioles benefit from a base running mistake.
So you don't get him over, and then it's right up there in the list. Man on second, the ball has to be hit to your left if you're a base runner. This ball to your right. Nice play by the Gold Glove shortstop. The Platinum Glover goes, and Chris Tillman says, "Oh, thank you so much." Don't bunt him over, and then the base running blunder.
Well, the Indians, very unlike the Orioles, they do utilize the sack. They lead the league in sacks with 19, but an unsuccessful attempt there, and the Orioles benefit. So here's Jean Gomes. And he'll take a strike.
Yeah, base hit his last time on a curveball.
And Hardy had no hesitation as the runner was in front of him as the ball was coming at him. As soon as he gloved that ball, he fired to the check.
You get the sense the game doesn't speed up a whole lot for J.J. Hardy. A lot of times you get excited because you're so happy that they're doing that.
Comebacker. Tillman goes to second. Out there, back to first, and safe.
Wow, what a play that was.
Dangerous throw by Tillman.
Well, I think that's one of those plays that if you know as a shortstop you're not going to get the lead runner, he's going to come off the bag. And as it turns out, it's Flaherty, his second baseman, because he was covering, and he's going to come off the bag and actually make a quicker throw. But this is why Chris Tillman, he's underrated as a fielder. Yeah. We already saw the grab off the bat of Carlos Santana. He does a lot of things well. You can't run on him. Obviously, his record not where he wants it to be this year, but he helps himself win in a lot of ways.
So he's an out away from getting out of it. Here's Michael Bourne. Just off the plate. Wow. From here it looks so good, and the man that counts, Greg Gibson, doesn't like it.
Well, he's had a pretty good game. Only the one pitch to
David Murphy.
Yeah, David Murphy that was down away. And other than that, he's been very consistent.
Well, Marcum has 4 Ks. Tillman has 3. And a bouncer to first. Easy play for Tillman. He'll step on the bag, and Chris gets out of it as he gets the play to Davis. So leadoff double, base running mistake, and 1 left. We're through 6. The Orioles have the lead. Off, and then David Lowe. Hardy with a tremendous defensive play in the bottom of the 6th as Murphy tried to move up on a ground out, and Hardy got him easily at third. That was the tying run represented there, and eliminated out of scoring position. So Marcum stays on. He's at 86 pitches, predominantly fastballs, which as of late that has been very unlike the approaching the Orioles, but as Jim mentioned, when your fastball's in your mid-80s, it's almost an off-speed pitch.
Yeah, and he turns it over a little bit, stays on a little bit. It's funny when you throw a two-seam fastball, you have to do is stay a little bit to the left of it. The ball comes out of your hand a little bit differently. You get that left to right movement if you're right-handed.
What the Orioles look to do here, and it's been difficult as of late, add-on runs. Ryan has single drive in a run. He got in the Orioles' second run with a 2-out base hit in the fourth, 1 out of 2. Showalter, John Russell looking on from the Orioles bench. And it's upstairs for ball 1.
Yeah, certainly didn't get that change up where he wanted.
The thing about Marcum coming in, he had only allowed about 11 runners per 9 innings, which is very credible for a starter. Big breaking ball that gets swept to first. So,
yeah, see, that's the difference between getting for him, or pretty much any pitcher, ahead in the count versus being behind. Got him out the first time on a breaking ball. Got behind him there to get the RBI base hit to right center field because he had to throw him something straight. And then he got ahead of him and he went to the soft speed, the softer stuff.
Here is J.J. Hardy. And it's upstairs 1-0.
Putting the bomber jacket on. That's good.
Breeze is suddenly broadcast level.
I'll wait till tomorrow.
Tomorrow's going to be cool.
Higher 60. High's going to be 64.
That's okay. That's refreshing. Line drive, base hit left field. Murphy over to cut it off. So J.J. down with a 1-out single. He's 1 out of 3. And the end appears to be here for Shaun Marcum. And here comes Terry Francona, and he's already signaled. So Marcum got him into the 7th. He goes 6 1/3. And he will leave with Zach McAllister coming on in the 7th. So the Orioles with a 3-2 lead, looking for more. 1 out, 1 on in the 7th.
Here, a lot of fastballs. Can't win tonight. Actually pitches pretty well. So a lot of breaking balls, change speeds well. As you can see, 91 pitches, 56 of them for strikes. Zach McAllister comes on. He's working and take a look at our AT&T call to the pen. Our AT&T proud partner of the Baltimore Orioles. AT&T mobilizing your world. A lot of fastballs, and why not? Fastball at 90, almost 94 miles per hour. 2-seamer, 4-seamer. He's got a cutter. He's got a curveball, slider, and changeup. That kind of seems like he's got starter stuff, and that's what he used to be. That's but pitches better out of the bullpen. 11 consecutive scoreless appearances.
Covering 11 2/3 innings. He hasn't allowed a run. Well, the streak began on April the 27th. Here's David Lowe, fouls it off his foot.
So 40%, a little bit high, not horribly, but I'd like to be around the 25 percentile. Did get 1 start. In fact, he pitched the home opener, gave up 5 runs in 4 innings. They just found out, and we've seen him pitch good games. He pitched very well against the Orioles. And start, but out of the bullpen, maybe one of those guys that's more comfortable. Doesn't have to go through. Capable of pitching more than 1 inning, but sometimes doesn't need to.
He made 1 start this year. That was on April the 10th.
Yeah, there's 96. There's T.J. McFarland for the Orioles.
David is 1 out of 2 back home. And he takes strike 3 call. That was right there.
Yeah, right there at 97. So, I mean, the average fastball about 94, but a little bit extra. You can see, big, tall kid. Really's got a power arm.
Well, the lineup turns over. Here's Manny Machado. Manny 0 for 3, a couple of ground outs and a strikeout. 3 for 19 now on the road trip. Just outside. Now, in the series in Houston, because of the strike zone there, Manny might have been enticed to go after that, but tonight it's more of a fair strike zone, and Machado felt it was off the plate, and it was.
Well, it's been a very consistent, the way it's supposed to be called, which is the ball supposed to be over the plate. Nope. Manny's got a footer in. That was 97 and didn't quite catch up with it. Well, their bullpen, they'd struggled early, and it's certainly got a lot better.
Over but low.
Yeah.
Either it got fooled or it was a good take.
I think Greg Gibson, the home plate umpire, got fooled.
There's a strike. The Indians bullpen has worked to an ERA of 3.20. That's 5th best in the league, just ahead of the Orioles. The Orioles are 6th. 4 and 8 in decisions for Terry Francona. There's Brad Mills, his bench coach, behind him. A longtime lieutenant with the Red Sox. And Hardy at first. Pitch to Machado, swung on and missed. He got it. So McAllister comes out of the pen, gets back-to-back Ks, and the Orioles strand Hardy. 7th inning stretch in Cleveland, 3-2 Birds.
Miller light. Matt Waiters, he's back. 181 games, and Chris Davis on first with a walk. He doubles over the head of Murphy. A little change up off Marcum for a base hit. 2 for 3 tonight. At least through the first 6 innings, he steered Chris Tillman into a 1-run lead. So the Orioles win the first 6 innings. They need 9 outs and maintain this lead or add to it in the next couple of innings.
Well, Tillman stays on. He's about to throw his 99th pitch. And it's high to Mike Avila's number 9 batter. Lineup then turns over. Kipnis and Santana. So will he be able to get through the 7th? Good off-speed pitch, had him out in front.
And it fooled him. It was up, but it did fool him. Avila's such a good fastball hitter. Had the walk-off home run against Brian here in Cleveland.
Popped them up. Center of the diamond. Who's it going to be? All 4 converging. And Ryan Flaherty wins. He calls, and he has it for the out and 1 away.
The tall guy.
Well, the latest voting numbers are in for the 2015 All-Star Game. Several of those are in the running for starting spots. So vote now for Adam Jones and Manny Machado and the rest of your favorite Birds. As Buck Showalter comes out, so he allowed Tillman to get the first out of the 7th. And we'll get a pitching change as with lefties coming up. Lefty switch hitter, then lefty, 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 lefty with TJ McFarland. So a strong night for Tillman. He has a chance for a win.
Trying to end the 6-game losing streak, which is really well. 6 1/3 innings. Murphy didn't think it was a strike. Bourne couldn't hit the high fastball. Well, the Orioles do get them some runs, not a whole lot, 3, which is a little bit kind of right on par. So there it is, 100 pitches, 63 strikes. A lot of fastballs tonight. The breaking balls, mostly curveballs and occasional changeup. And your Jiffy Lube pitching change. It's time for a little relief. Car 2. Visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube. Drive in today. So Brian Matusz would be on the mound right now, but he got suspended, so it's going to be TJ McFarland. Fastball 62%. You could see the rest sliders and changeups. And the numbers a lot better against the lefties. They're only hitting 215. Righties, a whole different story, 6 for 12. That's how we get to the 500 number there.
He just got called up when you were in Houston, so this is his first appearance since he was sent down.
Well, he's been up and down because he has options. He's one of those guys you can bring back and forth. And they really like him, and of course he's facing one of the hottest hitters in baseball.
Gets ahead of Kipnis on 1. And it's 0-2 foul.
Yeah, he is
tip.
He is a lot better at the bottom of his zone. In other words, a sinker baller, worked on his slider, trying to stay on top of it. Sometimes hard to do because of the arm angle. And then when he's pitching well, he can get righties out because you're in a little bit of a struggle.
0-2 the count. And a weak roller. Can McFarland get there? He does.
Yeah, he's very athletic. So what would be a difficult play, I mean, that's a play that a lot of left-handed pitchers, because you fall off a little towards third, watch him follow through. So again, he's coming over. Now he's got a reverse field. That again, athletic makes the play look really easy. Good pitch, good 2-strike pitch, and that's the way you got to get Kipnis out.
TJ's last appearance was that 13-inning game in Miami on May 23rd, and he took the loss. And he was optioned out the next day. Here's Santana batting right-handed. Down and in 1-0. Chazro is up again, second time in this game. He is outstanding since coming up. Ball 2 outside. It's only a 1-run game.
Well, Brantley, who's on deck, actually hits lefties better than righties. Equal amount of home runs, so it's not as good a matchup. But you got to make pitches with a 1-run lead. Got to be down where the glove is, and then you don't get the call. And then you got Santana, who leads the world in runs.
I wonder how many calls he gets by reputation. As you know, the umpires know he's patient. Well, if he didn't swing, it must not have been a strike.
Well, you talk about hitters having controlled aggression. He's one of them. Because when you do throw a strike, I mean, he does leave earth. And he can air out the bat head. Both sides of the plate.
And he draws a 2-out walk, so the tying run is on, getting the go-ahead run to the plate. Second time he's walked in this game, 42nd time on the year. Bucknell will make a note of that. The Indians in this game, excuse me, Jim, have not gone in order once. So they've had base runners now all 7 innings. First 2 are retired here in the 7th, but a 2-out walk.
And you have to be very careful with Michael Brantley with your slider because it speeds up the bat head. We talked, 316 hitter against lefties, but equal amount of home runs. So if you're going to throw that slider like he just did, make sure it's down in the zone. Inside part of the plate, it becomes a ball he can turn on. And if I'm pitching here, I'm pitching the big part of the ballpark. And the slider makes it very difficult to do that. I mean, he's looking for something that he can drive. And where is that pitch? Now that's one of those pitches you talked about earlier, Jim, where it hit Matt Wieder's glove, but our angle's sometimes off, and I think it's a good pitch, and it's actually just a shade off the corner.
And he goes after it on 2-0 and fouls it off. Now, with the moves the Orioles made today, with Mattis beginning his suspension, Brian is in Sarasota now, where the Orioles are hoping he could pitch in game action. They're still waiting for approval of that. But Cesar Cabral is in the bullpen. With that move with Cabral coming up, the Orioles now, there's Cesar. The Orioles now have 2 pitchers out there who do have options, Cabral and TJ McFarland. Bounce towards the hole, there's Flaherty. Bobbles, plenty of time, gets the out. So McFarland, after a walk, gets out of it. and the Indians strand a runner. We'll head to the 8th. Tillman and the O's with the lead. Our game, several O's are in the running for starting spots, so vote now. Adam Jones, Manny Machado, and the rest of your favorite birds. Just get online, Orioles.com/voteorange. You could earn ticket discounts and the chance to win an autographed All-Star Game jersey. You could vote up to 35 times with each valid email address. So keep on voting orange and get your birds into the starting lineup. Visit Orioles.com/voteorange today. Those fans have on their orange, seeing their birds in Cleveland. I saw several Oriole fans walking around downtown as I walked to the ballpark today.
You trudged over here?
Absolutely. It's a nice walk. Travis Snider leads off, and McAllister stays on.
Well, you better gear it up. Last pitch was 98. Foul tip at 95. Yeah, he won his first 3 games last year as a starter, and then lost the next 4. Hurt back, sent to AAA, and then came back and established himself in the back end of the bullpens. When you can throw 95 to 98 and throw it over, I can imagine it'll be pretty successful.
Hard hit ball towards the middle and a base hit. So that one he hung.
Yeah, I take it all back. If you're going to hang curveballs, maybe you won't be.
And Snyder's on with the leadoff single. Drive of the game brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer, 5 years running. See why at LexusofTowson.com.
Well, we will see if it plays out. But yesterday off at Chad Qualls, the Orioles won 3-2. They had lost 5 in a row, 3 in a row down in Houston, and he hit the home run to give the Orioles the lead, and they maintained it. Same case tonight to this point.
Looking for those elusive add-on runs.
So that was kind of a gift, kind of a rolling, hanging curveball, and you get an idea. Maybe that's what got him in trouble with the slider.
This ball's towards the gap in right center field, and it gets down for a base hit and misplayed by Brandon Moss. Heading to third is Snyder. He's being sent. Here comes the throw towards the middle, and scoring is Snyder, and Jones ends up on third. The Indians botch the relay.
Well, I think what happened is Kipnis thinks there's going to be a play at second. And Adam Jones says, I'm not even hesitating. The minute, and it plays in front of him, the minute Moss plays it this way, he plays probably a single and a first to third situation into a double. And here's Bourne. I mean, right here, Kipnis says he's going to throw it, and he throws it right to the shortstop, and here comes Snyder. You can see Bobby Dickerson he's got the windmill going.
So Snyder scoring from first. Wow, the scorer gives Adam a triple and an RBI. So he will take it. The Orioles get an insurance run and a chance for another.
Well, the way Moss played it, I guess he just assumed he wasn't going to catch it that way. So now infield in. Nobody out. Chance to add a couple. Nick Hagedorn, hard throwing lefty.
So run in. It's 4-2 O's.
Yeah, see, this is one of those situations. If McAllister throws the fastball inside quarter, Chris Davis just can't get it. We saw that. Didn't see it in the playoffs because he was suspended last year. But the hard throwers that command in with a little drop of the hands, it's just hard for him to get the bat hit. And then again, if you try to do that, then he opens up. So you can see where the target is, and he just throws it right by him.
3-pitch strikeout of Davis.
So again, you get those matchups that just favor the pitcher, and this is one of them because McAllister throws his hard. He doesn't even get it where Gomes put the glove, but the velocity. You can see Chris trying to hold up. And that's kind of why they want him to, still trying to. I mean, his swing is still a work in progress. Trying to shorten it a little bit.
So one away. Big run at third. Here's Wieters. High fly ball center field. Jones will tag. Bourne makes the play. Here's the catch. Here comes Jones. It's airmailed in, and Jones scores easily. It's a sac fly and an RBI. Wieters, in his first game of the year, has a 2 RBI game and a huge insurance run there. It's 5-2 O's.
Well, you work on this every day. Okay, man on third, less than 2 outs. Get him in. Hit the ball in the air. And what I see from Matt Wieters is he's shortened his swing. I mean, the toe tap, the leg kick is lower. And all of a sudden, he just got something up. He's smart enough to know that McAllister's got a great fastball, flicks it into center field. You get another run.
So McAllister allows 2 runs here in the 8th after he stranded a runner in the 7th. And the Orioles now with a little breathing room. Pitching change in Cleveland. Birds with a 5-2 lead.
Victor Martinez straight, so you can see primarily 2 pitches. The breaking ball's a slider, fastball. Now he has added a cut fastball, so there's a little bit more movement on it. Average velocity somewhere maybe 93 to 94. Of course, McAllister was rated at 94, and he hit 98 tonight. The righties hitting him a lot better than the lefties. Done a nice job. And the only other number that kind of jumps out at you is with runners on base, hitting close to 300 at 297.
Well, the move made to flip Paredes over to the right side, where he's batting 100 points lower than the left side. He is 0 for 3 on the night, trying to find that stroke. High fly ball center field. Bourne will get there. And he's got it for the out. So Hagedorn on 1 pitch gets Paredes, and the inning ends. A productive inning for the Orioles as they get 2 big insurance runs. Jones and Wieters with the RBIs, 5-2 O's.
And then the brain cramp. Tries to go to third, ball hit in front of him. It's a play by the Gold Glovers, Hardy and Machado. And the Orioles will be able to get out of the inning unscathed. Add a couple more runners. That is your T-Mobile game changer. Big defensive play by J.J. Hardy. Nice to see him back.
Well, McFarland stays on. He faced 3 batters in the 7th, and a couple of groundouts plus a walk. Moss, Murphy, and Chisenhall are due. 3 consecutive lefty batters, so McFarland stays on. Breaking ball bends in there for a strike.
There's a little breathing room. Still want to be aggressive. Really good pitch to get out of the last inning to Brantley. 2-seamer down and in, rolled over. And one of the hardest pitches for a left-handed hitter, because all the good ones that cover the outside corner, is the 2-seam fastball down underneath their hands, inside corner. Teammate T.J. McFarland has that pitch. You go out to cover it with that front shoulder, and it's hard to get the bat head to it. A lot of ground balls to the right side. And in this case, they put the shift on Moss. So if you could get him to hit that ground ball to the right side, it's right into the teeth of your defense. I remember when Mike Flanagan, the late Mike Flanagan, taught Doug Johns in one training. He taught him to throw the 2-seam fastball and to start his hands first and then his leg. Of course, Moss is late on that. Those 2 things in spring training, Doug Johns is sort of the starter for the Orioles.
So McFarland ahead 1-2. The Orioles with 5 runs on the board. They haven't scored 5 runs since last Sunday, and that came in a loss, 9-5. And a swing and a foul tip held by Wieters. There's a strikeout and 1 away.
Yeah, well, they pride themselves in being a grind-out team, and tonight's been a grind. Tillman had to pitch in and out of problems, and right there, nice little sinking fastball. Moss can't get to it. Matt Wieters, big outs. Darren O'Day getting loose.
Here's Ryan Rayburn to pinch hit for David Murphy to get a right-handed bat up there.
Yeah, pretty good hitter. Last year had wrist problems, but when he's healthy, he can swing it. And those numbers reflect that. Not a lot of it does, but high average.
Murphy was 2 for 3, but his base running mistake, as Jim just showed you, the best play of this game. He was the tying run in the 6th with a leadoff double and ran into an out at third for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, the little things. So close to maybe tying the game up, putting more pressure on Chris Tillman, and kind of run your way out of the inning.
Strike on the corner. Rayburn is a real good utility player, and there's Nick Swisher on deck, a switch hitter, to pinch hit for Chisenhall. And he has found his niche here in his 3rd season with Cleveland. Strike.
Yeah, he has no idea that T.J. McFarland's going to drop off a breaking ball. He's looking fastball, and do that when you're pitching behind is the way they turn it. Now you get to this count, and he's got to look for both pitches. And there's that swing. I didn't realize until I looked at his numbers last year, and he did have wrist problems, and he did not have a good year for him. But the year before, he had 272, hit 16 home runs, and limited bats. And that's from 243 bats. He did the same thing when he was with the Tigers. I mean, he attacks the ball. He's a great platoon player that can play pretty much all around the field.
Well, he's played the outfield. He has played second base. He has played third base. He has played first base, and he has also pitched 1 game. Blowout game. The Indians put him in, and he works the count to 3-2.
Yeah, and the other thing is, in all those years, high on base percentages. So that tells me, I mean, with Detroit in 2011, he got on base 43% of the time. So he knows the strike zone.
And a bouncer glove by McFarland. That might have been a base hit. Instead, it's an out and 2 men down.
Well, you touched on it. I mean, all the good fielding pitchers, you throw the ball, you're in a position where you can react. We saw Tillman, Chris did it on a couple of plays. So you the sinker, watch how balanced he is. I mean, right there. And it's the other thing is he's to the right side of his body, so he snags it very easily.
The Orioles have really turned it on fielding-wise. Since May 24th, they have the 2nd best fielding percentage in the American League, trailing only Seattle. In this span, Jim, in the 13 games, just 2 errors. Seattle in this span has committed just 1. And both errors, throwing errors by Delman Young, trying to be aggressive to get base runners. So the fielding has come around.
And, of course, Delman does lead the American League in assists with 8.
So when you field, your pitching is better. The extra base runners eliminated. Here's Nick Swisher pinch hitting. And there's a strike.
DJ able to get both, really all 3 pitches over tonight. What's your big 4-year deal? What, $56 million? Double knee surgery in the offseason.
High fly ball, shallow right. Wind gets it a little bit, so Snyder retreats, but he's got it for the out. And the first 3-up, 3-down inning for the Indians. T.J. McFarland gets him in order. We head to the 9th. The Birds in front. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland. Beautiful Friday night. A few defensive changes. Mike Aviles moves from shortstop to third base. Chisenhall was pinch hit for. There's the new shortstop, Jose Ramirez. And Ryan Rayburn, who pinch hit, stays in the game in left. So Ramirez will go into the spot vacated by Chisenhall, which will be 9th in the 9th inning if he get around that far. Here's Ryan Flaherty. Ryan's had a good night, 1 out of 3 with an RBI single. Fastball's inside.
Yeah, that's kind of where he tops out at 93, and then he's got a slider to go with it. Somewhere around a little bit under 80 miles per hour. Came up, as we mentioned, with the Red Sox and then traded.
Wow. Against the shift.
Oh, Ryan Flaherty.
And a 2-hit game for Ryan Flaherty. 6th multi-hit effort on the year. Yeah. Wayne Kirby complimenting him on that swing.
I'll tell you, it doesn't get really. I mean, right here, does play a little bit of golf right here. I mean, it's kind of your little flip wedge, knockdown wedge to left field. There you go. It kind of takes care of that matchup.
So Hagedorn is done, and Austin Adams, a right-hander, comes on. Leadoff man on for the O's in the 9th.
some of the numbers, what he throws, well, there you go. 52% fastballs, the breaking ball. It's kind of a slider at about 87 miles per hour. Then I look at the velocity on his fastball. The average fastball this year, that's average, 97.5 miles per hour. So he's been up and down 4 times. And you can see fly ball pitcher if you make contact.
So he inherits Ryan Flaherty on at first and nobody down. Orioles up by 3. Would love to get a 4th. So here's J.J. Hardy, who's got a base hit in 3 trips. Overthrows at 94, up and in.
It's almost like he didn't have a grip on it. Zach Britton with a save yesterday on your interview today. Nice job. That's very good. He wants to get more opportunities.
Yep. He went from last Friday to yesterday in between save opportunities.
And the Orioles would like to really, ideally,
give him the night off.
Yeah.
Score a run here and they can accomplish that.
Or if you do want him to pitch, it won't be a save situation, so you probably won't see him.
1-1 on JJ. Inside and a good take.
Yeah, the Orioles trying to get to see. I mean, you do your film work, you do your advanced meetings, and you're going to play the Indians all in the month of June. They come to Baltimore
at the last weekend of the month.
26.
Double play ball. There's Ramirez. He flips to second. Kickless back to first. Wide throw, but Hardy's tagged and 2 men down. They hit it sharply, but right at Ramirez. And the 6-4-3 is the base run.
Yeah, this is a pretty quick infield. So you know the ball's hit at people if they are caught, and that was going to be routine double plays, or should be. A nice little high angle here, and you can see the throw up the line, but Santana easily able to grab it.
Former catcher, he's made himself into a very good first baseman.
Yeah, he caught the other night, so he still catches on occasion.
David Lowe pops it up shallow left. Rayburn will put it away for the out, and the inning's over. So the Orioles 3 outs away from a win. Zach Britton looking to come on to earn the save. Star of this game, his presence has been felt not only behind the plate where the Indians have been held to 2 runs, but Matt with 2 hits and 2 RBIs in his return to the lineup.
Well, a lot of things. If we look at Zach Britton, he's been magnificent. Got the save yesterday. Recorded 9 saves in the month of May. And allowed a run over the ladder. I mean, you can just go down and down. I mean, 7th in the league with 14 saves, but again, you don't hit the ball in the air very often. And 97, you were talking about it in your interview. I mean, it's very hard for hitters to elevate the ball, and somebody can make the ball sink at that. So again, if they come in and he does his job, his normal job, and the efficiency that he does it, he will have accomplished a lot of things. You've won 2 games in a row after losing 5 in a row. You get Tillman off the snide. He'd lost 6 in a row. And you get Wieters back. Buck said he wasn't going to play tomorrow, but he might want to, but he won't. You got Caleb Joseph sitting around, so Zach, it just has to be Zach Britton, and you'll take your chances.
There's always that DH spot.
Yeah.
There's Jean Gomes. It is 7, 8, and 9 to face Britton.
And again, Gomes, we talked about how the Indians, they were 7-14. He missed the month of April. So he adds a lot. And tonight, he's able to be 1 for 3. Started at this 5th inning when they got Dak.
And the lead man is on in the 9th. David Lowe really gets to the ball quickly, fires in.
Well, he's a plus defender. And Zach Britton doesn't want to be up in the zone, and that's what it was. And Gomes, he's a legitimate good hitter. He hit 280 last year, hit the 20 home runs, so he gets him started.
Now in this inning, because of the moves that Terry Francona made in the 8th inning, he only has one player left on the bench as Michael Bourne comes up, and that's the other catcher, Roberto Perez.
Well, they kind of like their chances only because Aviles is still in the game, so he's right-hand hitter. He's on deck. I mean, if all of a sudden Bourne somehow can get on base, and there's 97, and the pitch to Gomes was up, and so was that. And all of a sudden, they're where they want to be. Boy, every game is different. Yesterday, everything was down. Got to figure out on the fly how I get the ball down the bottom of the zone.
Bouncer to third. Machado has second out there. Back to first, not in time. But they get the lead runner, and Bourne, speed still there, beats it out.
Yeah, they do everything you need to do to try to turn a double play. You got to catch it. You got to get the lead runner, and then Flaherty's got to make a good catch and release, and he does. But Bourne, one of the reasons they signed him was because of the speed factor.
Now for Britton, this is the first time that he's pitched in back-to-back games since May 21st and 22nd. He picked up a save on May 21st. That was the day game at home against Seattle on the getaway day. And then he picked up the save the next night in Miami. Now, as a sinker baller, he will tell you that his problems are when he's too strong, so working back-to-back days, he actually would prefer.
Yeah, but most of the pitches, with the exception of the one to Bourne, are up. I mean, that got the high strike.
Aviles is 1 out of 3.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with his balance when he gets in his set position right here. I mean, sometimes he feels like he gets a little bit too wide, so it's hard to actually get over his front side. Feet maybe a little bit close together. And then the difficulty for any reliever is you have to do it instantaneously. If you come in, you need to get 3 outs. You got to figure out how I'm going to do that. Meanwhile, you have the other team trying to get on base and keep that from happening.
Missed inside, 1-2 on Aviles.
And for him, one of the keys is also that front hip of a right-handed hitter. He can get the ball to run back so much it forces him to actually stay through his windup.
And chopped the foul. Really a defensive swing to stay alive. That ball now starting to move.
Yeah, well, that was what you want to do. That's what we saw yesterday. 97 at the bottom of the zone. And it doesn't really have to be 97. It just has to sink. And he can make it sink 93, 94. Not too many guys can make it sink at 97, though.
A ball and 2 strikes on Mike Aviles. Check swing and appeal to first. He went too far. That's a strikeout and 2 men down.
Well, you asked him in the interview today, Jim. You're probably throwing a few more breaking balls, and he said, what, I want to maybe give him another wrinkle? Well, here's the wrinkle. And the bat head well in front of home plate. When you're looking 97, you got to get the bat going, and then the breaking ball completely fooled him. Terrific pitch. And what made it so good, too, is that he got on top of it. Didn't need to throw it for a strike and didn't.
So the Indians down to their final out, but it's their best hitter, Jason Kipnis. His RBI single came in the 5th. He's also drawn a walk.
Now will he bunt? Machado is way back at third.
Runner goes. Orioles are going to let him. It gets away from Wieters. Bourne makes the turn. He's going to go to third. So that'll be defensive indifference to get him to second. And we'll see what they rule to get him to third.
Yeah, it could go either way. I mean, it's a ball he just misses.
Yeah.
I would imagine it'd be a pass ball.
And it is. It's a pass ball, so he gets to third. The run that matters is on deck. 2 outs in the inning. And a swing and a miss popped out of the glove of Wieters.
Well, remember when you did the interview when we started the game, I told you what Evan Longoria said. When you're as good as Zach Britton is at what he does, why would you ever think about starting him again?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
No. He sometimes muses about that. Having won 11 games as a starter.
He went too far on the check swing. And it's 1-2. He clearly was fooled by that. I mean, you just think about it. You would be weakening a tremendous strength if you did that. Because then if he's not your closer, somebody else has to be the closer. 1-2 the count on Kipnis. You know, it's like the talk, you know, with Manny still so young at 22 years old. Will he one day move to shortstop? My question is why? He's the best third baseman in the league. But the argument I get back is, well, you don't know if he might become the best shortstop in the league.
Well, he in Albany, an Orioles scout, said if you think he can play third, you should have seen him play short. So he's very good, but they also have a 3-time Gold Glover. There you go.
Swing and a miss. He got him, and the Orioles grabbed the opener. And the Birds have won back-to-back games. They got the win yesterday and snapped the 5-game losing streak. So for the first time since May 28th and 29th, the Birds have put back-to-back wins together. And you bet Matt Wieters is smiling. He returns to the Orioles and catches in a game the Orioles win, and he contributes with a couple of RBIs. What a day for the Orioles here in Cleveland. So for Britton in the ninth, a base hit and one left. And Matt Wieters on his return to the big leagues here tonight.
Well, just to see him back, you know, Marcum gets him out the first time on a pop-up, and then he doubles over the head of Murphy. Chris Davis, who had walked, will make it 1-0. And then Marcum had a terrific changeup tonight. One of the few that got hit was the one by Matt Wieters. And then right here, need a sacrifice fly, need a fly ball in the air. Able to do that as Adam Jones will score the 4th run. So big night. Missed the previous 181 games. The Orioles 4-29, and now they're 4 games within 500. Big night. Got to be happy. Hope he stays healthy. And good to see him back.
Well, and Chris Tillman gets the win. So Chris, his first win since April 18th. He did a real good job in the 5th and 6th innings in pitching out of some trouble that he caused for himself, but he limited the Indians to 2 runs. Chris allowed 6 hits, and 4 of those hits came in the 5th inning.
And 3 on curveballs. So again, you know, he got out of the inning with Moss on a good changeup. Chris Davis made a nice play at first, knocking it down, hit pretty sharply. And again, what you try to do is you got to stay away from the big innings, and he was able to do that.
So Tillman gets the win, and when he needed to, he kept getting the big out, and that's what you have to do.
Well, 0-6, and all of a sudden, I thought he had a really good fastball tonight. He spotted it early, up and down the zone, and then right here, Bourne couldn't catch up with it. So an excellent curveball, probably threw a higher percentage of curveballs. But even in the 6th inning, able to get a great changeup.
You know, it'd be a good idea right here. Let's interview the new guy. Matt Wieters joins us from downstairs. And Matt, congratulations on your return. First of all, how are you feeling right now? Not only you're back in the lineup, you get to play and you caught a win.
I feel great. To get back to getting in a regular game and playing with these guys, it was awesome. And I had some energy going today, but it's nice to get a win and get back, and now we can just focus on having a regular from here on.
Well, speaking of wins, Tilly, we know how good he can be. I mean, he's been struggling. They haven't been scoring a lot of runs. You get him 5 runs tonight. He got himself into a little bit of trouble. I probably thought he had the best curveball of the year. But, again, you got him out of the 6th inning on a great changeup to Moss. So he really used all his pitches tonight, so at least it seemed that way.
Yeah, he was able to use his all-speed stuff for strikes. And that curveball is so big for him because it sets up a lot of his other stuff. And, you know, even the innings they got the runs, there are a lot of ground balls that just found holes. So I thought he threw the ball really well today.
Well, congratulations on your first complete game in a long time.
Thank you.
Matt, I'm curious about what we hear when players come back, and you certainly had a long spell. I mean, it was 181 games in between appearances for you. What about the timing at the plate? How were you affected by that?
Well, I've had a lot of at-bats down in Florida, so it's timing felt good, and was able to put a couple good swings on some balls. But I was just excited to get behind the plate more than get to the plate.
Well, welcome back. It's great to have you, and congratulations on a great debut. Now just go out tomorrow and top it.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, that's Matt Wieters joining us. What a great return for the Orioles catcher. Well, we hope you can join us tomorrow. Tomorrow's action, Ubaldo Jimenez will be on the mound against Danny Salazar. Our coverage on MASN 2 begins at 3:30 with those extra presented by Jeep, and then game coverage at 4 o'clock on MASN 2 and on WJZ. And now for Jim Palmer and our entire crew, Jim Hunter saying so long from Progressive Field, where the Orioles win it 5-2 over the Indians. Tonight's telecast, massive presentation, Tom and Rico's extra presented by PNC comes your way right now.